A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We open on a black star field. Star Wars, Defiance, Episode 1, Honor Among Thieves. War rages. The Galactic Empire mobilizes to retaliate against the Rebel Alliance following the destruction of the mighty Death Star. Meanwhile, the rebellion flees the Jungle Moon hideout of YAVIN 4 and seeks safe haven, spreading their numbers across the galaxy to avoid the Empire's gaze. In this time of upheaval and uncertainty, the daring Special Forces squads of Defiance carry out covert missions of sabotage and subterfuge, striking at the dark heart of the Empire with surgical precision. As the Empire's shadow deepens, 4 intrepid rebel commandos journey to the mid-rim world of ORD MANTELL to acquire a valuable asset and stay one step ahead of pursuing Imperial forces. We pan down past moons hanging in the night sky and find ourselves amidst soaring dunes of junk. Ancient starfighters, rusted out Durasteel storage containers, all manner of scrap and debris. This is ORD MANTELL, home of the Black Sun crime syndicate and haven to all conducting business beyond the gaze of the Empire. A desiccated womp rat, bounding from one junk pile to the next, clawing with its forelegs. It sniffs a pile of rotten food and digs in greedily, just as a massive junk crawler rounds the bend and crushes the creature beneath its giant treads, leaving a streak of green gore in its wake. We pan up and over the junk hauler as it careens through the sprawling junkyard, and through the front viewport we see the driver, a heavy-set human man in a stained flight suit with a graying, braided beard. A smoldering death stick hangs limply from his lips. He leans back, steering the junk crawler with one hand, and peers over his shoulder, where, in the back of the junk crawler, 4 individuals sit. Unbeknownst to the driver, these 4 are rebel commandos, here on ORD MANTELL for a vital mission. So you 4 are sitting in the back of this junk crawler as it careens through the scrapyards of ORD MANTELL. It is dim and hot and humid in here. It smells of stale sweat and rotting garbage, engine oil. There's graffiti and tattered posters of Twi'lek dancers covering the walls. I'd like for you to please introduce your characters, describing what they look like and how they'd be preparing for their mission here. You know that you're en route to receive orders and that you're going to be securing a vital asset for the rebellion. But beyond that, you're not sure what you're here to do. We'll go ahead and start with the squad captain, Beskar.
Beskar is a human man. Previously, a collector, bounty hunter of sorts. He's Mandalorian. Or he was. He's not anymore. Only one way to get out, and that's by being dead. And he's not dead, and so he does everything he can to pretend like he's not, except for the name, which is like the one thing that he keeps from that time. And this like ancient-looking rusted suit of armor that he keeps in like relatively okay condition, but deliberately lets turn to like rust here or there to give the impression that he is not one of the very, very proud Mandalorians. He would never let something like that happen to their armor. He like sniffs the death stick smoke, sort of closes his eyes and like takes in that. He doesn't partake anymore, but did for a long time, and he has that sort of pang of. He would check his blaster again for like the 4th or 5th time, just checking everything's in order, and just trying to get a little bit of like peace and quiet and calm before what is almost always going to be a tense mission.
And who would be sitting next to the captain?
Nexu.
So Nexu is probably the most suspicious out of all of them, since he's probably the only one still wearing a stormtrooper helmet, a scout helmet that if he removes it, he won't actually be able to see anything. So he keeps it on so that he can actually see the scenery as it passes by. his outfit is mostly covered in whatever matches the scenery that they've been passing through. It's covered in muck and grime and all that stuff to kind of keep himself hidden most of the time. But since they're on a truck and they're going to a mission, he'd mostly be occupying his time by going through and checking his heavy blaster rifle, pulling all the bolts off, making sure they're clean, checking his supplies, his utility belt, taking everything out, putting it back in. And like he's keeping mind of his surroundings, but for the most part, he's focused on making sure he's as prepared as possible for the mission to come.
And who would be sitting next to Nexu?
Biskar. Oh, wait, that is Biskar. Who is actually sitting next to him? Sulla.
The ride is bumpy, and Sulla's doing his best to polish this weapon in his hands. He's wearing his fleet trooper helmet and a human man, and he is cleaning this large repeating cannon that's attached to a backpack, which actually is sitting next to him. And he's just making sure it's operational. He looks to Nexu and remembers a time. You know, he gets a bad feeling about Nexu, your helmet, all the time, and he harkens back to a time when he almost shot you in the field because he saw your scout trooper helmet and almost took you as one of the enemies. And he thinks, God, this guy's got courage wearing that thing around me. He knows how skittish I am with this weapon. And he finishes polishing the weapon, cleaning it up, sets it next to the backpack, nods to Nexu, maybe makes a remark about his helmet, and then he looks down at his left forearm, and he's got tattoos up his forearm, and he pays attention to these, or concentrates on these letters in Galactic Basic, these characters, these people tattooed on his arm, and he meditates on them for a minute. These names surrounding an emblazoned symbol of the rebellion on his arm, a brand that ensures that he is sworn to a life as a rebel, that he can go nowhere that's not under rebel control without risking his entire life at the hands of the Empire. But it's always worth it. It's always been worth it. There is no other way.
And seated next to Sulla is a creature that probably has to stoop even while seated inside this junk crawler. What is Chalura doing? And go ahead and describe him to us, if you would.
Chalura is a Wookiee. He has a blast helmet on top of his furry head and a blast vest over the front of him. His bowcaster is in his hands, lying on top of his lap, and holstered on his back is this very long vibroblade that is etched in Shuruk, the Shuruk language, saying his own name. Also hitched on the right side of his belt, draped with a cloth over it in order to hide it in open public, is something his companions know as one of his most prized possessions, a stormtrooper helmet from his first kill as a rebel commando. As he looks at Beskar and Sulla and Nexu, he just kind of snarls a little bit. He's begrudgingly accepted his friends, and if they need him, he is willing to almost sacrifice anything. But when it doesn't come into that, he couldn't be bothered. So he just looks at them and goes, "Got
a bad feeling, huh?"
These 4 ragtag commandos, not a single piece of unifying gear among them, no uniform unifying them. They sit in the back of this rickety hauler, and soon it comes to a slow here in the middle of this world-spanning scrapyard. The driver turns around, sweat stains on his jumpsuit, looks at you, Beskar, and says, "These are the coordinates you gave me. This is where I'm supposed to drop you off."
Beskar will open his eyes and like exhale the little tiny bit of death stick smoke that he was able to inhale and look around. He'll like pull out a little data pad and double check to make sure that's correct. And if it is, he'll give a nod to the others to get out.
Sulla stands up, puts the backpack on, arms himself with his weapon. The backpack is much larger than the weapon itself. It's got a ton of stuff on it, including a personal shelter and a bedroll. He's got a bunch of gear on it, just like everybody. And he walks after you and says, "Aye, sir."
Nexu just nods, puts all his gear back away, straps his heavy blaster to his back, and then hops over the rails of the truck.
Beskar will like get out and go around to the front sort of window of this thing, and like lean his forearms on it, and wait for the guy to roll down the window, or I guess it's Star Wars, so he definitely presses the button and it downwards. He'll like turn his head to the side a little bit and say, "It was nice not meeting you."
Likewise. And he like does like a semi-truck sort of shifting of this gigantic hauler. And as the four of you step out of it, the hauler takes off down these sort of makeshift alleys between the piles of scrap and disappears in a wake of foul-smelling dust. Now, Beskar, you know the usual process here is that there's probably a data drop somewhere at these coordinates where you will receive orders and whatever supplies, specific supplies you need for your mission.
Okay. Yep. And what I usually like to figure that out by, is there like a signal I'm like zoning in on or something like that to find it? Or
so you take a moment to kind of look around and you immediately see a like battered stormtrooper helmet kind of sitting lopsided in one of the piles, and you see that there's a Crimson Rebellion logo kind of like plastered on the side of it.
He'll look to the others and like with a couple of hand gestures, he wants Nexu in this direction up on top of that thing. He wants Sulla over there on top of that like ruined car before he like approaches with Chalora.
Nexu nods again and goes to stand where the boss wants him to.
Yeah, Sulla climbs atop a speeder, gets ready.
Just in case, he'll say over the comms, and then approach.
You know that the... oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that I make sure I have a bead on where the helmet is and where he's supposed to be going.
So once you get up to the helmet, Beskar, you know that these data drops are usually trapped against anyone who's not supposed to be lifting them up. So you know you usually have to be fairly cautious when you're picking them up.
Yeah, I'll get to within like maybe 10 feet of it, and I'll look back to Chalora with this like, stay here. That's what I thought. And he'll like take a few steps forward and squat down and like approach and see like if it's, you know, type 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the usual sort of trap that they would have here.
Yeah, you recognize it as something that you've dealt with before, and so you're able to lift it up in such a way that you don't disengage the... As you lift it up, you see that there's a frag grenade with a sort of kill switch, and you're able to lift the helmet up so as to not to depress that kill switch.
Yeah, I'll do so, and I'll place the helmet on the ground, and then I'm going to try and take the frag grenade and like pop it onto a pocket without exploding it, hopefully.
Yeah, you're able to do so. And you see that in addition to the frag grenade trapping the helmet, there is a small data chip sitting there where the helmet was covering it. Something that you could pop into your data pad to be able to access the information.
Yeah, he will do so now. Like, he's known for being careful, and this is why he has like even at this like random location that no one would know about, and there's no one around. He still has people up on like elevated positions, just covering them just in case always, and that's how you get to live this long in this job. He'll like pop the data pad in and read what he can and basically transmit it or like explain it as he reads it to the others.
I was muted. Classic.
Sure.
As you pop the data chip in, a holovid springs to life out of your data pad, and you see a familiar face, though one you probably haven't seen for some time. It is Colonel Izak Tavi. She's a Twi'lek woman with a missing Leku. One of her head tails is gone. This is the commanding officer of Defiance. She serves directly under General Crix Madine, the overseer of the spec forces. She appears in this flickering holovid and says, "Defiance, I'll be brief because time is a resource we currently do not have. You're to make contact with a Black Sun rep called Sal Lor at this location. In exchange for the credits in this data chip, Sal Lor should provide you with a T2C Theta class personnel shuttle and clearance codes for safe passage through the Imperial blockade at Bakura. Once in hyperspace, transmit the all clear to receive further encrypted orders. Stay safe and tread lightly. Sal Lor has been a friend to the rebellion, but he values credits over loyalty. Destroy this data chip upon receipt of these orders. Tavi out." And then flickers.
You get that? He'll ask over the comms.
Got it.
Got it.
He'll take the chip. Actually, before he does that, he'll like delete whatever he is capable of with like his data pad, shredding the info in a way that he's quite capable at, and then he'll take it out and just like snap it in half.
Black Sun, huh? It's been a long time.
Long time.
Hope we don't bump into anyone we know.
So from my vantage point can I just make sure before I go down that there's nobody like approaching us or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, go ahead and give me a search check, if you would. So that's under perception.
Yep. Okay.
And however many dice you have, go ahead and roll those, making sure that one of them is your wild die.
Yes.
And let me know what you get.
Okay. I'll just do this right now.
That's a lot of dice.
All right, so I got 21, but the colored die was a 1 as well.
Okay. So you're kind of scanning around with your sort of thermal imaging, and on a hill, probably like 2 hills over from where you're standing, you catch the familiar glint of either a scope or macro binoculars sort of catching the sun.
Okay, so I immediately comm that to Biscar and the rest of the crew. Got a scope.
And it's probably like half a click from you.
Yeah, so I let them know the distance. Let them know I can't tell if it's a sniper scope or just binoculars, but definitely somebody watching.
And we're like in a junkyard. Big ass junkyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scrapyard.
Yep.
So that would be weird. I'm
Want
like
me to take a shot?
Oh god. If we were Imperials, I would absolutely say yes. But what if it's just like a kid looking through some binoculars at like some dudes hanging out, you know, like we're the good guys. Beskar like pinches his like the bridge of his nose, because this is like the hardest part about working for the rebels, is you have to make calls based on not just like pure pragmatism.
Can I tell like where they're pointing the binoculars at, or I can just tell that somebody has binoculars?
You can definitely tell that they are pointing it in your direction, and likely they have spotted you already.
Okay, so they're looking directly at me, but not like, do they have vantage of the people, of the guys on the
Yeah,
bottom?
they would have a pretty good vantage point, because it's essentially like you guys are sort of in like a valley of trash right now, and you're sort of standing on top of a hill, and so they're a couple hills over, sort of looking into the valley that you're standing in.
Okay. Is there any means of which they could get like back up out of sight behind one of like the piles to be concealed?
The person with the scope.
Our guys on the ground.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you could guys could take cover behind the hills and avoid the line of sight of that scope easily.
Okay. So I'm gonna calm the Biscar and just suggest maybe one of us should go see who's looking at us, and I'll keep my eyes on them. And if they follow you, take the shot if you want, but they have to choose which one of us they want to look at, right?
Affirmative. And he'll with again hand gestures, move everyone in a direction where they will no longer be visible by this person. And Beskar would know. I don't know which of you is best at sneaking, but he would send that person. And if it's none of you, I'll go.
I imagine that Nexu is probably best at sneaking, though I'm not sure.
I'm very good at sneaking, but I'm also the one that's aiming my gun at them. If somebody else would like to come up here and replace me, that would also be good.
I'll cover him, Nexu. And Solo's over there, he pumps his weapon, and he moves into a position closer to you where he can give you covering fire if need be.
Cool. So yeah, I can slide down this scrap pile and try my best to get over there without being spotted. If I can see a path where I'm not easily observed.
And yeah. Solo's out in the open, drawing attention to himself to allow you, Nexu, to kind of slip away maybe and disappear.
Perfect. Yeah, so Nexu, go ahead and give me a, I believe it's called sneak check. And you can add 1d to that because Solo's helping you, distracting.
All right, so I got 16 and again a 1 on the color die. I feel like I gotta change this color die.
Fate is not with you. So you move through the trash. You find kind of a path through these hills and wind your way through them, staying low, taking cover as you go. And once you get close and you snap your scope up to kind of look at this guy, you catch sight of him and you see that it's a guy who is basically, he's laying prone on top of one of these junk piles, and he has a large blaster rifle with a scope on it. And you see that he's wearing this kind of purple and gold uniform with a blast helmet. You would probably know him as a Black Sun foot soldier with this uniform on. And he's sitting there with this blaster rifle, and you see him just occasionally, he reaches up and adjusts one of the knobs on the scope. And just as you're looking up and seeing him, you hear, with your exceptional hearing, you hear speeders approaching from the same direction, at least 3 engines.
Am I far enough away that I could quietly calm my people without him hearing me?
Definitely.
Okay. So I calm everything that I've heard. Black Sun watching us, speeders on the way. What do you want me to do?
And for what it's worth, this guy could have taken a shot at you guys a long time ago, but he seems to just be observing for now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're also supposed to meet a Black Sun, so it's possible that this is this guy's men.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We definitely don't want to. So, everything I'm saying right now, I'm saying to you, this could be him, trying to get the jump on us or something like that.
He would say, don't engage. Stay frosty. We're on the way.
Would you like me to step back and try to get a beat on him just in case? Maybe try to get some perspective on the speeders that are coming in? He hasn't noticed me yet.
Do what you can. Don't get killed.
Black Sun's got a lot of factions. I'm going to keep a bead on this sniper.
All right. Beskar will start moving, and we'll go, let's say, like right, and he'll expect Chalura to go left, so that we kind of end up coming on either side of Nexu.
Cool. You guys have a few moments to position yourselves before the speeders appear around the corner, coming down the same route that the junk crawler disappeared down a few minutes ago. You immediately see that there are 3 vehicles, 2 swoop bikes with Black Sun enforcers riding on them, and a AA5 speeder truck, which is sort of this open canopy land speeder that has a big cargo box in the back of it. And of note, a swiveling gun turret on top of it with a Black Sun enforcer sort of leaning on it. These speeders come into the clearing and then slow. Are you guys trying to stay hidden from these speeders as they come around the corner?
I would like to stay hidden.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't move unless ordered to.
I'll step out and put my hand up.
As you step out, the Black Sun foot soldiers on these swoops, they sort of set the swoops down and get off, and they don't draw weapons, but they keep their hands on these really strange looking, they're blaster pistols, but they have a barrel on the top and a barrel on the bottom. And all of them have this same distinctive blaster pistol, and they're all kind of resting their hands on the blaster pistol, looking at you through the strange visors of these distinctive blast helmets that they're wearing. Out of the speeder truck steps a tall, broad-shouldered Falleen, this green-skinned reptilian humanoid. He's wearing these purple and gold silks that are draped over this blast vest armor. And you see that he has, again, that double barrel blaster pistol on one side and a vibro knife on the other. He steps out of the truck, creaking as it does so, and he nods to you, Beskar, and says, "You the commandos I'm supposed to meet here? Defiance?"
Beskar will like wipe some sweat from his forehead and like flick it onto the ground. And like look around at the rest of them and like make sure that he can make eye contact with all of them. He's giving the impression that he's very dangerous, and he is. But he is. This is not his first rodeo talking to a bigwig, or someone particularly who thinks that they're a bigwig, and so he like takes a few minutes or moments and makes this guy wait a little bit. We're supposed to meet a Sal Lor. Is that you?
That's me. He would look to his guys and kind of nod, and they would fan out a little bit, not in a threatening way, but just kind of strolling along, kind of looking around. How many of them are you?
He'll smile. Enough.
Come on now. I've got all my guys out in the open. Why don't you call yours out in the open?
What difference does it make? We're here to make the deal. Give me the stuff that I need, and then we go. There's not going to be any sort of engagement or fight here. So where my men are and how many they are is not your concern. Sal Lor.
Fair enough. I at least like to know the names of people I do business with, especially outside of Black Sun. What do I call you?
Defiance.
He would exchange glances with one of the foot soldiers who just kind of shrug. All right. So Tavi tells me you need a shuttle and some clearance codes to get through the blockade at Bakura. That right?
That's correct.
What are you planning to do with this shuttle?
Take down the Empire.
Okay. Well, it's got 2 guns on it, so good luck with that. Listen, we talked 10K with Tavi, but unfortunately the price has gone up since our conversation a week ago.
What a shocking twist that is. Laura never would have expected the Blacks to change the arrangements of the deal.
The arrangements have changed. And I hope they don't have to change any further than that.
And so how much more is it now?
Double. 20K.
Really, though? How much more?
You're laughing, but I didn't say any jokes. 20K. You have any idea how expensive Imperial shuttles are these days? They're in demand.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't have 20K, Sal Lor.
That is unfortunate. Because you know who does have 20K is the local Grand Moff. And I'm sure he'd be very interested to hear that Defiance is shopping for Theta class personnel shuttles.
He probably would like to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Beskar will just fold his arms and look at this guy. And then, like, hawk up the most grotesque loogie that he can manage, just like this. And he'll shrug.
So that's how it's going to be then.
If you think that you can get to this Moff before I get to you, then that's how it's going to be. We don't have 20K. If there's some sort of arrangement we can get to, then that is preferable because we need the shuttle.
I have no sympathy for your rebellion. I have sympathy for myself. What I want is what the Empire would pay me for you. And however many commandos you have hiding in the trash. He reaches into his vest and pulls out a comlink.
Beskar raises an eyebrow. Do we even have the 10K that we're supposed to pay them?
So you do have 10K that was on the data chip. So you downloaded that money essentially before you destroyed the chip. So you do have 10K that was agreed upon. You do not have 20,000 credits. So that's like more than this ship would be brand new.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty outrageous. But I don't know how else we're going to get one that's stealing it. It's the codes really that I think we're going to need from these guys, right? That's what. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't have 20K, Sal Lor. Not right now, we don't, but we're resourceful people. I'm sure that we can find it in time.
You're going to just happen upon 20,000 credits.
You'd be surprised what you can find if you look hard enough.
How exactly would we go about this deal then? Half now, half later?
The codes now, we bring you the money and then the ship.
Interesting. Although, you know, if I'm going to be made to wait, I may as well collect some interest.
I believe you are getting too greedy for even your own good, Sal.
Greedy? Listen, I can get 20,000 credits right now by pushing a little button on this comm link and maybe a dinner with a Grand Moff. Or I can wait and get, say, 5,000 more. 25 altogether.
Beskar's like trying his best to keep his cool, but it's beginning to weigh on him. And you can see, and certainly Sal can see, like a sort of throbbing vein at the side of Beskar's forehead as he like clenches his jaw. 20k is what you said, and that is what we will pay. And if you think that you can press that button before I can shoot you, then you are not a wise man, Sal.
Sulla focuses his aim.
Nexu does the same thing, pulls the bolt back.
There is a heavy silence. Wind rustles through the junkyard, kicking up the robes that this guy is wearing. There's the creak of armor as the foot soldiers rest their hands on their blasters. Sal holds the comm link out. It was 20 now. But I'm not getting 20 now. I'm getting 20 later. That's how interest works.
Nexu just aims at the comm link, and he says boss, waiting to see if he can just shoot the thing right out of the guy's hand.
Beskar will like scratch behind his ear, which is wait for me to do this again and then shoot. And he'll say to the guy, we'll pay you 5 now, Sal. You give me the codes. And then we will bring you 15. And you give me the ship. It's entirely possible that we could just find 20 grand and buy our own ship. But we like having friends in different places, and we like making deals with people who can be relied upon. So I've come to you. I don't want this to get ugly, and I don't want to have to resort to violence here, because that would be very unpleasant for you and your men.
I think it would be unpleasant for all involved. He thumbs the comm, turning it off, and puts it into his vest. You caught me in a good mood, and I really don't feel like getting into a gunfight today. 5 now, 15 later.
The codes now, and the ship later.
All right.
Beskar immediately spits in his hand and puts it forward.
He kind of shakes his head like, I'm not doing that. And he would usher one of his foot soldiers forward, who would come towards you, Beskar, and hold out a data chip.
He'll take the chip and he'll wipe his hand on the dude's shoulder. And then he'll like put it into his data pad immediately to check that it's actually the codes.
You pop it open and you see that there are codes in the Imperial rotation for shuttlecraft as recent as a week ago.
All right. He'll take those codes and he'll upload 5k onto the same data stick and hand it back to the dude.
The guy is wiping spit off of his shoulder and then grabs the data chip again and kind of gives you a simmering look through the visor in his helm, and then comes back to Sal. Sal brings out a similar data pad and puts the data chip in. We're good. 24 hours.
Beskar will just turn around and go.
Let's go, boys. Sal gets back into the speeder truck. His foot soldiers mount back up on the swoops. The engines power up with a whine, and they take off. Nexu, from your vantage point, you see the guy with the sniper rifle like lift it up, shoulder it, and slide down the back of the hill, leaving his post.
Once they're all out, I let the boss know. All clear, boss.
He'll nod, and then he'll like find a location that's like central for us all to meet in.
Sulla makes his way, backing up mostly towards the location, keeping an eye on the surrounding hills until he grows comfortable with the surroundings.
All right, we have the codes, which is the most difficult part. He wants a lot of money, more money than he deserves in this situation. So I would say let's just steal the ship and go.
Whatever you say, boss. I'll back you.
Well, I want your input, all of you.
Well, depending on how much we have to do around here, it could be more trouble than it's worth to bump heads with this guy.
I don't know where we're going to find 15K so quickly.
I mean, if we're going to the Imperial stuff, I'm sure that we can find something that he can liquefy into 15K or possibly more.
Matt, I have starfighter repair, not space transports repair, which is a shuttle, but have I hotwired one of these shuttles before, or do I have any experience stealing a ship like this?
I think you probably have a lot of experience stealing ships like this. Yeah.
Great. It wouldn't be our first rodeo, Cap. He looks to the captain, says, I could probably take a shuttle.
He'll take a breath. Seems like our best option. We're going to be stealing anyway to get the money.
One thing though, it'll cost you 15,000 credits. He jokes.
Next, he smiles and says, "It's a little cheap, don't you think?"
Yeah, he caught me on a good day, in a good mood. He rolls his eyes.
Yeah, best credit is
I'm glad you approve. I was worried that you were going to jump out and, he looks at your weapons, throw your vibroblade at him.
Next, he looks at you and says, "You were probably about to shoot him."
You too.
but no one did because we have firing discipline in this squad. Isn't that correct?
Aye, sir.
Correct, boss.
That's what I thought. 15K.
All right, so what's our next move?
That is a good question. Where can we steal one of these ships?
So Imperial shuttles aren't just like all over the place. One option would be to try and track these guys towards whatever hideout they have and hopefully find the shuttle there. You could attempt to try to find somebody else selling Imperial craft. You don't necessarily need this exact shuttle, but you would need something that could at least pass for an Imperial ship of some kind. So you could spend some time trying to make contact with other people here, or you could track Sal back to wherever he was going.
So our understanding would be that they have the ship already and that they're like keeping it somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, something as valuable as a former Imperial shuttle like wouldn't just sit in a junkyard, but definitely it would have been scavenged and pulled by these guys.
Okay. And knowing what we know about Black Sun, I would think that there's going to be like a lot of dudes at wherever it is. Like too many dudes.
Most likely, but you also get the sense that this is like a side hustle for Sal, and so he might not be housing Imperial shuttles like at a main sort of Black Sun installation. You can't be sure, but it seems like he's doing kind of side business with the rebellion here.
Boss, I might have an idea. So, what if we sold the information about where this guy has his shuttle to some other Black Sun, got them to raid it, and then snuck in and stole the shuttle while they were raiding it?
Beskar scratches his beard. That's a good idea.
We could also get his 15K that way.
Very true. Then we need to do some research and find out what the different gangs are and who hates Sal Lor, although I imagine it's literally everyone. I guess we head to a bar and figure it out.
Yeah, so there are lots of little hideouts and hovels here on ORD Mantel. ORD Mantel has like one big city that's controlled by the Black Sun Syndicate, and then sort of sprawling out from that, there's all these little settlements, and so you don't have to go far before you find a small sort of cluster of makeshift Durasteel buildings set into the hills of garbage. You find a cantina that is made out of an upside down cargo hauler that has sort of been stripped of all of its parts. And so you can walk into the airlock of this cargo hauler and you find yourself in this dingy, dirty cantina. Even for like Edge of the Empire type stuff, like this is a dirty cantina. You walk in, you see it's mostly humans with some Bith walking around, the aliens that have the big heads with the black sort of obsidian eyes walking around. A couple of Falleen here and there. You also see some rusted droids serving drinks, walking on their rickety legs. You've definitely found yourself in a hive of scum and villainy here.
So I would suggest that we split up and start asking questions about indirect questions about the factions of the Black Sun. Because you walk up to somebody and you say, "Hey, who hates Sal Lor?" You're dead. So let's be casual about it.
Silla's going to walk over to a set of lockers that are kind of on the left-hand side of this entranceway, and he's going to open one of these lockers, and it creaks open as he pulls it open. He's going to take off his weapon, look around him, put it in the locker, shut it, and take the key. People usually aren't happy to see this kind of heavy blaster in a cantina like this. He's not sure what kind of people he's going to run into. He makes sure his blaster pistol is in his holster and pockets the key and begins to walk toward the bar.
Yeah, there's quite a few scavenger-looking folk here, bedecked in dirty clothes, draped in old pieces of armor and gear. And when the four of you walk in, you get more than a few looks, notably glancing at your weapons and your armor.
Sulla also rolls his sleeves down to cover his arms, like getting ready for a job interview.
They probably seem most skittish around the Wookiee and the guy wearing Imperial Scout Trooper armor, for sure. They're kind of like, as those two walk in, they kind of give them a wide berth.
Yeah, Nexu is definitely not the best at talking. In his time working for the Empire, the only real means of persuasion they had was intimidation. So, if that's but boss wants him to talk to some people, so wearing his armor and keeping his weapon that's bigger than probably most people think it needs to be. Hopefully he's trying to look for somebody that might be not as skittish, somebody that's kind of sees him and looks almost as if like he's a challenge to them.
There's a big human leaning against the bar, nursing a drink. He's wearing a makeshift blast vest made of stitched together pieces of armor, and you see that he has a heavy blaster pistol on his hip. And when everyone else kind of shies away from the Wookiee and the Scout Trooper walking in, he kind of stands his ground and maybe looks the two of you over before returning to his drink, running his hand on his bald head that's covered in tattoos and scars.
So Nexu kind of nudges Chalura and is like, "Want to be my support?"
Sure. He says no, but it just comes out as.
Thanks, buddy. And he starts walking over to the big guy. And once they're standing in front of him, he just goes, "You think you can have a drink with me? I'd like to ask you some questions."
I don't talk to Imperials. Keep moving, buckethead. He drinks.
So he looks at him, and then he looks at Chalura and says, "Do you really think an Imperial soldier would be walking around with a Wookiee?"
I don't think a lot about what Imperial soldiers would do.
Maybe you should.
What the hell do you want?
I'm looking for information on a guy named Sal Lor. Know anything about him?
Sal Lor? Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. I'm looking for somebody else that knows him but doesn't like him.
You're liable to bump into a lot of people that don't care for Sal Lor around here.
How many have pockets deep enough to do something about it?
Oh, you're looking for someone with clout? You won't find him here.
I know. That's why I'm looking for information here.
What business do you have with Sal?
It's not the question I asked.
You already asked one. Now I get to ask one back and forth. A conversation.
Well, we're talking now. And he takes a seat.
Yeah, I guess we are.
Well, I'm looking to sell information on him. You see, he raised the price. We had a deal. Skipped out on it. Looking for somebody that's looking to get some payback with me.
Yeah, that sounds like Sal. Well, listen, I don't know exactly what you're looking for. I'd say that every other high-ranking crime boss on ORD Mantell is probably looking to take Sal Lor down a peg, if not outright kill him. But I've done some work in the past for a guy called Jalan. He and Sal had a falling out about a year ago. Used to work together a lot. He operates a rival syndicate group on the other side of the junkyard. He might be your best bet.
Thanks, bud. And he throws down some credits for his next drink. It's appreciated.
He takes the credits and goes, I ain't your bud, but thanks. Finishes his drink and then points to the droid bartender, give him another one, and immediately spends the credits that you gave him.
So he had his comms running the whole time. You guys get that?
Jalan, eh?
That's what the man said. How'd you like to move, boss?
Not a lot to go on. Let's see if we can get some more. The best guy likes to have a backup plan.
Are there any people in this bar that look like they might actually be Imperial sorts, or at least not be so wretched Hy-Vee?
There is one guy, one of the falling, who's sitting kind of away from everyone else, and he's definitely dressed a little bit nicer. Not so nice that he's obviously a Black Sun, but he's not wearing like pieces of garbage.
No, he makes sure that he put his helmet in his rebel helmet inside the locker as well. He just kind of tries to look as mediocre as possible. He sidles up next to this guy, orders a drink from the droid behind the bar, puts down some credits. A drink is filled. Can I get you something?
Another one of these would be fine.
Points to the droid, gestures toward that drink, pays. So he looks around the bar. You from around here?
Am I from ORD MANTELL? Yes. You clearly
No.
aren't. He would look at the Wookiee kind of roaming around behind you.
Which one of us is luckier?
Luckier. Probably you. Even with the Wookiee smell.
Matt, I'm sorry, I actually just dropped, so I couldn't hear anything that you said. What was his response?
Oh, he said probably you, even with the Wookiee smell.
You get used to it. He says, anyway, I'm looking for a way off this rock. Hoping to take legitimately, and he looks to him, as an Imperial methods to get out. Any local places we can catch a shuttle?
There's an Imperial liaison office in ORD MANTELL City. I see shuttles and TIE fighters come out of there quite often.
Any kind of laughs to himself. Any place we might find a repair depot or a place where like a hangar where they would fix up ships?
He would kind of lean forward. This is turning into a business transaction.
I was afraid you'd say that.
If you're looking to acquire Imperial transport of your own, there are several dealers here in the junkyard. Why don't you go talk to one of them?
No, I like the look of you. And you seem like someone who might barter with goods instead of credits.
Maybe. What good would you have to offer?
Basic stuff, but a lot of it. Military gear, glow rods, rations, med packs, couple thermal flares.
I have no need for these things. Plenty of that junk to be found in the yard.
What about an MWC-35C staccato lightning repeating cannon?
Much fewer of those laying around the junkyard. You have access to a gun like that?
I might, assuming we decide to go with your services and have you escort us to a safe location to rendezvous with a shuttle.
Something like that takes time, a couple of days to set up. You sound like a person who does not have much time.
Does 24 hours sound about right?
24 hours would be pushing it.
He kind of combs his mustache with his fingers. Is that a no?
It's a soft no. 24 hours I can do, but you're going to have to throw in something else aside from the heavy repeater cannon.
Like what? You want transport on the shuttle with us?
I don't know what I want, but I'll know it when I hear it. How about that?
Oh man. That kind of deal takes time. Couple of days at most. I only have 24 hours.
Then it seems like we're both out of luck. And I'm out of booze. He starts to get up from the table.
I'll tell you what, wait. Give me your contact information. I don't know if there's like a comlink number or something.
Give me your Snapchat. He would reach into his vest and slide a small data chip over. You can reach me on that line.
All right. For now, it's a soft no.
Very, very soft.
He nods, turns back to his drink.
He leaves.
Oh, we should probably follow that guy.
Do you need me to send somebody to follow him?
You got someone you can spare?
And so he has a probe droid that he can send after him if you want. And he's like, I can send Bob.
Oh, I knew there was a reason we kept you around. He says sarcastically because he knows that you're probably among the most skilled people in any rebel squadron. So he laughs to himself. I think that's a good idea for all of us.
All right. I'm going to go take a moment outside then. And he excuses himself from any conversation that he was having and walks outside and activates his probe droid. And just, communicates and says, Bob, I want you to follow those guys, but I don't want them to see you. And then I don't really know how probe droids are supposed to work inside the game. So I don't know if there's like a distance that I have to be with him or if they can act on their own.
I think they can kind of act on their own. I'll look it up here really quick.
Is it like a Darth Maul, like Sith-looking thing, or is it like?
Exactly what it is.
So
Yep.
it's called a dark eye probe. It's like a really small thing.
So cool.
It's funny that you asked if you could have one of those, Jonathan, because I was like planning on having you guys have one of those as a squad that you could use.
Oh, nice.
So let's see here. So it has a range of 300 kilometers. So that's a long way. So it can go 300 kilometers before it has to basically turn around and come back.
So yeah, I tell him to follow it as best he can until it can't follow him anymore.
Great. It does so. It kind of takes off into the air and takes after this guy. While the other two are having conversations, what are Beskar and Chalura doing?
Beskar is watching over the place. He's doing that sort of casually exuding threat stance where he's like leaning against a pillar with his arms folded and just like watching people in the bar. His real hope is really just to ensure that nobody fucks with him or his companions while he's in here, and he wants them to practice their sleuthing as much as possible.
And what about Chalura?
Churl has a holopad out. He's busy kind of typing on it. And he approaches. There's droids serving drinks, but is there like an actual like bartender?
There's just the droid behind the bar that's just kind of like rotating and serving drinks when people ask for them.
Does it look like it's a more intelligent droid, or is it just purely just?
Yeah, it's like kind of making idle conversation with people and stuff.
All right, he will approach this bartender droid, and he will would a holopad have? Well, okay. Would a holopad have text to speech?
Yeah, I'd say it probably would. It probably has some sort of translation like software on it.
He will finish his typing and he will press the button. Though I suppose he might be able to understand Wookiee.
Yeah, he possibly could.
All right.
He does look like he's like non-military, like not a protocol droid specifically, but a droid that would probably know a lot of different languages.
In that case, Sal will approach and which means do you know anyone who'd be willing to trade spice for information?
The droid kind of listens to you talking, nodding, and then kind of as you say spice for information, and kind of looks to either side and then sort of ushers you over to the side of the bar. And he says, I can give you that information, but I will require some sort of compensation.
He will look into his belongings, and he will pull out one of the things he purchased, which is a pocket scrambler.
The droid looks at it with interest.
Which means this will jam communications when you use it attached to a device.
The droid takes it. This is adequate compensation. There are several who would trade information for the substance you speak of. One is called Sal Lor. One is called Jalan. There is a third here called Val. She lives in the center of the junkyard, outside of the Black Sun Syndicate's reach. Is this information satisfactory?
Can you tell me, well, this is, at this point I'm just going to talk normal. Can you tell me any more information about Val, other than something more about who she is, rather than where she is?
Val is a scavenger here on ORD MANTELL. She comes in from time to time, hawking her wares. She keeps an eye on things, keeps her nose clean. She's one of the few that hasn't fallen in with one of the Black Sun gangs. Is this information satisfactory?
Yes.
Very well. Then I believe our business is concluded.
I could have used that scrambler. Better to have a plethora of information, though, I'd say. And then he sees someone looking at him as he's talking to himself, and he just lowers his voice and finishes the sentence.
So it seems like you guys have several leads here. One is Jalan, who appears to be a rival Black Sun boss who would potentially be willing to help. There's also Val, who is a scavenger out in the junkyard. And there's the Falling that Sula talked to, who is currently being tracked by the Dark Eye probe.
Yeah, and he mentioned that there's an Imperial liaison office in
ORD MANTELL City, yeah.
MANTELL City, which seems pretty dangerous, but last resort if we needed to hotwire a shuttle.
Yeah, it would probably be under pretty heavy guard, but it's always an option to fall back on if you guys needed it.
So all of these approaches are risky. I think like asking the Black Sun or like encouraging the Black Sun to get each other could work. There's also a very good chance that they will be like, hey, they're getting us to fight each other and kill us. Then trying to convince this person who's not Black Sun to mess with the Black Sun is probably going to be very difficult, because why would you? Like, they're almost a government-sized like criminal syndicate. So I think probably getting this Jalan is probably our best chance for success.
It is worth noting that for the scavenger, we still do have 5,000 to trade with her. So not sure how many credits she finds often, but she might have. I feel like maybe we should check on her first, just in case, because she might have just an easy way to get something for cheap.
Yeah, well, she's not going to have the shuttle, right? She's not going to have an Imperial shuttle for the money that we need, but I guess we can try and buy something to trade. But yeah.
I mean, she is a professional scavenger. She might have found a shuttle that nobody else found.
Or knows where a decrepit one is that could be found.
Yeah, maybe like some really, really like old one that isn't really in service anymore, but we could totally make it pass if we wanted to.
Give it a paint job, some flames on the side. Sola actually says that.
Flames on the side haven't been regulation for a long time.
Yeah, ever since they put me behind the gun.
There used to be flames on the sides of many ships, but that was before the dark times, before the Empire. All right, I think ultimately it's your call, Captain.
I think let's go to Jalan as quick as possible. I think we don't have time for a lot of faffing about, and I think that while Val might be useful, I think that she's not going to get us there as quickly as getting these guys to fight each other will.
All right. Should I call the probe back?
Solo looks to the captain to make the decision, but he says it might be good to have that backup plan.
I agree.
All right. Well, let's get to it then.
All right, so you're going to try and make contact with Jalan?
Yeah.
So it doesn't take much digging to find out where Jalan makes his home. It's a few clicks to the east from your position, so you'll have to hire another junk crawler to take you there. It's pretty easy to find one passing through the area, and so for the second time today, you guys climb aboard one of these foul-smelling junk haulers, cram into the back of it, and it carries you across the junkyard. You pass through more dunes. The sun is high in the sky now, midday fully here on ORD MANTELL. And as the sun beats down on the piles of scrap and garbage, the smell really takes on a distinct edge. And you really, if you're not wearing some sort of mask with a breathalyzer on it, you really get a hit of it. This just strong, sharp, acrid smell of garbage and ancient things cooking in the sun. But eventually you find your way to this old warehouse that has been cleared of a bunch of junk around it. So it's actually in fairly good condition. There's catwalks going all along the side of this warehouse, and you can see the distinct purple and gold uniforms of Black Sun foot soldiers patrolling these catwalks. The junk crawler stops a good distance away from it and opens up the side door to let you off. And you find yourself standing before this this large warehouse.
I assume that there's like cameras on us, and so like I'll put my hands out to the side and do like a open palm, like we want to talk.
You stand there for a few moments, and then the doors of the warehouse grind open, and you see a small figure walking out of the warehouse, flanked by several other figures, all wearing the purple and gold Black Sun uniforms. And then behind them is this gigantic creature this almost ape-like beast dressed in rags, sort of dragging its arms along the ground. And anyone who has played the game Dejarik would recognize this creature from that game. This is a Mantellian Savrip, the creature who in A New Hope picks up the other creature and throws it down on the board. This is actually one of those, and he's trailing behind these Black Sun enforcers with a chain around his neck, just kind of sullenly walking. You feel the ground vibrate with each of its steps. The small figure leading this cadre of people is a Bith, and you see him come forward and step a few, he's probably, I don't know, 10 yards away from you. And he stands there and kind of looks at the four of you for a moment and then says, "What can Jalan do for you?"
We're very grateful for the hospitality.
I don't greet all guests like this, but this is a special occasion.
What makes it so special?
You are of the Rebel Alliance, are you not?
He shrugs.
I have eyes everywhere. I know that you met with Sal Lor this morning.
Sal Lor rolls up his sleeves.
And if you know that, do you know what we met with him for? What we were trying to achieve?
My man was not close enough to hear what was being said, but I know that there was an exchange of credits and that you both left without firing blasters at each other, which means your meeting with Sal Lor went well.
I wouldn't say that it went well. I would say that it went without violence, which is kind of a shame when dealing with Sal Lor.
A shame indeed. And I suppose that if it went that well, you wouldn't be coming to talk to Jalan as you are now.
No, indeed. We were placed in contact with Sal Lor. I'm beginning to think that that was a mistake. Seems to be a loose cannon. Doesn't think about the long game. I've heard that you're the kind of man, creature. I don't know what you would say, but Beskar would. You're the kind of being that does think about the long game.
I do think about the long game. Sal Lor is he is obsessed with making a good impression on the Imperials here on ORD MANTELL. Thinks he can get in good with them off, maybe earn himself place as an advisor in the regime. Me, these things are fleeting. The Republic fell, the Empire will fall, the government after that will fall too, and all the while, criminals will still be here, picking up the scraps, making credits they can.
To think that the Imperials would bring a man like Sal Lor into their employ is entertaining at best. It's good that you know that as well, Jalan.
Indeed. But the question remains, what can Jalan do for you?
It's really a question of what can we do for you. This Sal is a rival of yours, from my understanding. Seems to muscle in on much of your territory and you on much of his. You seem to be somewhat evenly matched at the moment. Else you would have made a move by now.
As you said, Jalan thinks about the long game.
Well, currently, the balance could be tipped dramatically in your favor.
So your deal did not go well at all with Sal Lor this morning.
Would we be here?
Certainly not. Come then, come inside and let's discuss your grand plan. Assuming you have one.
I have a series of plans. always. I think we're alike in that, Jalan.
Indeed. He would turn. The enforcers would follow him in, and they would drag the Mantellian Savrip behind them. It would lumber its way back into the warehouse. You would see that inside the warehouse, there's a bunch of speeders and swoops all parked in here. There's a wall of guns behind a walled gate that is being guarded by an enforcer. And all along this tall warehouse, there are all these catwalks. And along the catwalks, you see close to a dozen Black Sun enforcers, all of them with their hands on these double-barreled blaster pistols. Jalan sits in this very comfy sort of circular sunken area and gestures for all of you to do the same as the enforcers that walked out with him positions themselves behind him.
Yeah, Beskar will do so.
Solo will follow suit with the captain.
Yep. As soon as the cap sits down, Nexu will sit down after.
Jalan looks the four of you over. Strange assortment of people. 2 humans, former Imperial looks like, and a Wookiee. Been some time since I've spoken with a Wookiee. How are you, my friend? That's about what I expected. He kind of leans back. So, Sal Lor, you want me to take him down a peg because you want something from him. Mind Jalan asking, what is it you want?
Beskar really does mind him asking. But I suppose in the interest of working together, it's best that we're honest. There's a thing that Sal Lor has in his possession that I want.
Sal Lor has many things in his possession. Weapons, vehicles, ships, drugs, explosives, people. Could be many things you want.
In exchange for our help in taking him down, which is achievable with the talents that we have assembled here, there's a ship that we want to take.
I see. Jalan likely does not have this ship you seek. So to Sal Lor we will go to get. You do look like you could help out. Big weapons between you, plus the Wookiee. Much like my pet over there, except this one you do not need to keep on a chain.
You wouldn't want to try and put him in chains.
No, I most certainly would not. So then, we assault Sal Lor in his hideout? What's the plan?
What do you have people in there, as you revealed to me earlier in this conversation? They've been there for a while, I assume. They will know codes, ways to open doors, ways to lock doors, ways to turn off power. We wait till night. We get them to turn off the lights. We go in quick and quiet. We kill Sal Lor. The rest will... Well, they need to work. And once he's gone out of the picture, then Jalan has many more men.
Jalan likes this plan. However, Jalan is bound by the ethics and rules of the Black Sun Syndicate. We are not mere outlaws. The reason why Black Sun is as successful as it is because we carry respect for one another, for the way things are done. If we are going to do this, we have to make it look like it was you and you alone. Jalan cannot be implicated.
Permission to speak freely, Captain?
Granted.
No offense to you and your posse here, but we We can handle Sal ourselves. But, as the captain said, if you could shut down the power, allow us entry, a way to get in a mode of surprise, we can handle the rest. And they're none the wiser as to who's behind it.
This I can do. In fact, to ensure this goes off without a hitch, I can provide some heavy fire support. He would kind of nod to one of his enforcers who walks over to this big canvas tarp. And the enforcer pulls the tarp off, and you see that there's a Y-wing sitting under there. Maybe I blow the door open for you.
That would be useful.
Right then. I do what I can. Disrupt their comms, turn off the lights, blow the door open, and let you four do what you do best. In exchange, I get Sal Lor's men, all of his assets, except the one that you want. Do we have a deal?
Sal Lor owes us 5K.
I can give you 5K.
Then we have a deal.
Then we have a deal. He would lean across and put his hand out to you, Beskar.
Yeah, Beskar will spit in his and then grab the hand and squeeze.
Right. A few hours till nightfall. Make what preparations you must. I will do the same. Tonight, it's going to be a good night. Tonight, ORD Mantell has one fewer Black Sun Syndicate boss. And Jalan has a few thousand extra credits. So I think this is a good time to take a quick break. And when we come back, the four of you can make whatever preparations you want. And then we will we'll assault Sal Lor's hideout. So we will be right back, everyone. Please stick around. Thank you for watching. And we'll be back in about 5 minutes here.
I really enjoyed shit slinging with both of those Black Sun dudes. It's very satisfying.
I'm really glad. This is like, I have zero notes for anything that's happening right now. I totally assumed that you guys were gonna shoot that guy at the beginning, and then when you didn't, I was like, oh, they're negotiate. Okay, this is awesome. So I'm just like, I just took all my prep and threw it out the window, and we're just going off the beaten path here. It's like great though. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, I think if it was a different game, I would be way more trigger happy. But
Totally.
like, but I like playing a dude who like wants to be trigger happy, but like knows that he's a good guy now and
He's a
shouldn't
good
just,
guy.
shouldn't just shoot people. You know?
Totally, yeah. It's the difference between like a Edge of the Empire game and an Age of Rebellion game. Like it's just like it's two very different tones in the characters and how they act and everything.
There's like a higher purpose, and so you can't just go around
Yes.
burning bridges.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, I enjoy how much we're like all acting like a squad too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It
you
feels
guys
like we've done this 1,000 times. It feels
Yeah.
like, yeah. It was the first game, the first mission.
yeah, and we haven't really gotten into the mechanics very much yet, but I think you guys are about to get into a firefight here, so.
There was
Yeah.
a blaster fight.
So was the guy that was on the other mound with the sniper rifle, was that, oh, you were saying that you have no notes for it, but was that Jalen's dude? Like, did you
Yeah.
already plan for it?
That
Yeah.
was one of his guys. So I had already planned that there was going to be another Black Sun guy there, kind of spying on the whole thing.
Gotcha.
I had no idea who he was for, like any of that kind of stuff. So I was just like, oh, I'm just going to bring that guy back in, and yeah. All right, everybody back? Guys ready to go? So you have a few hours before nightfall here to make any plans. Jalan also provides you with a kind of a rough map of Sal Lor's hideout. His hideout is basically in an old CR-90 Corvette that has been kind of stripped out and stuff. And so he kind of but he provides this sort of this hollow map of it. And he kind of points out some of the defenses, that there's a gun turret here and a gun turret there. And that he can, his guys can disable the power to disable the defenses so the gun turrets won't be a problem. And he can basically wait for your go ahead to do a Y-wing bombing run on this thing.
So I guess what I would put forward is that cut the power and whatnot. We get in and try and take out Sal, and then when we are on the way out, that's when they hit with the bombs.
When they hit the bombs?
Or they hit with the bombs first, and then when everyone's all over the place, we rush in and try and kill them. But that seems more dangerous for us.
Well, I would say that, like, if they hit him with the bombs first, right, and maybe if we could just have like some other distraction outside, we could literally just sneak in and then just take the shuttle, right?
Yeah,
like the whole goal is to take the shuttle. We don't need to fight all these guys.
So I was thinking that, but then also there's the like long game ally angle, which is like good for, again, this is like something I would never carry out usually, but I think like if we're fighting for the rebellion, then like we got to make sure that we make good contacts, and if this guy like is sort of in our pocket and owes the rebellion something, then that's good long term.
So is there a building that this guy is in typically that we could bomb, that if we don't kill him in the bombing, he would come outside and we can just pick him off and leave?
Jalan's not really sure, but he would say that if there was... that Sal Lor is not one to really put himself in harm's way very often, and so more than likely he would send his guys out to check out what was going on rather than come out himself.
That might be even better. If we can get his guys to come out and then we can just go in.
Yeah, I wonder, like, is there a way that we can go there and act like we have the money and meet them out in like a courtyard or something. The danger is like the bombs that's dropped from a Y-wing is going to be so big, like that if we're in shouting range, we're also going to get bombed to death. I think, you know. Yeah, so it's not like we can be like, oh yeah, really, really carefully target those dudes. It's like they're dropping bombs out of the sky, and it's going to be huge.
Yeah, and you've seen the state of the Y-wing. Like, it's probably not a very accurate bomber. Like this thing's in not great shape.
Like my thought would be that if we can get the power cut, that we can go in like quick and quiet and like, you know, with our breath masks on and like helmets on and stuff, so we can see in the dark, not choke on smoke and whatnot, and then like try and get in quick and kill this guy, because he himself isn't necessarily going to be like a very scary combatant. He's like a gang leader. So if we can kill him, then we can just beat the rest of them. Like, but he's dead now. Jalan's your man, or you die.
Yeah, I guess my only concern is that we would be walking into a hornet's nest with just the four of us. And even though we could, if we had proper cover, we could probably take them all out if we could somehow bottleneck them. But all of us just walking in and then getting surrounded is not great. So maybe if we could use your plan to get them to come out, meet us for the money, potentially we could use me as some way to blame what's happening or cause more confusion as the Empire is attacking. Use the Y-wing to cause more confusion. Like, if we can try to get it to seem like the Empire is attacking while our deal is going off, maybe that would be enough to take him out, get into the thing while everybody's running away because they think the Empire's coming and we can escape.
Right, you have like proper stormtrooper armor, right? Or a scout trooper?
Yes, official stormtrooper armor. I also have the probe. The probe has some weaponry on it, so I could probably appear in the distance, and the two of us could probably take some shots, make it seem like there's more of us than there actually are.
The Y-wing is not an Imperial ship, right? It's a rebel ship, or like, so they're not.
It's also really dark, so they won't be able to see exactly what it is. So depending on where we want it to bomb, we don't have to bomb the compound itself. Maybe bomb something close enough so that they feel like something's coming. These are also just off the top. Like, it's potentially that this is more insane than us just going in and shooting him.
Yeah, no, it's tricky because you're right. There are a lot of them, so we could definitely end up in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and if you ask Jalan about the numbers, he would say that last time he and Sal met, Sal looked to have about a dozen guys with him, all of them armed with the double blaster pistols and vibro blades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like, I mean, it's probably like in a ship like that, a main deck or something like that, where they would hang out, like a mess hall or something like that. If we can figure out what that is and we bomb the shit out of that at dinner time, or just before breakfast or something, that might be something.
We could always wait until they're sleeping.
Yeah,
so typically
idea.
Between the 4 o'clock range, maybe 3 o'clock, and everybody's definitely in bed, or people who are supposed to be on shift are probably sleeping.
Yeah, there's like a barracks inside the CR-90 Corvette that they probably used for like the enforcers bedding down, that just has like these cots like embedded in the walls.
Yeah, I mean, so we could do the bombing. I could stand on the outskirts and just start shooting people as they're coming out of their barricade or whatever, and you guys can go in. Hopefully I'm causing enough chaos where they think people are shooting at them that they just avoid. Oh, you guys could also put on some of their armor as well. sneak in with the chaos. I'm sure Jaleen would give us some stuff so that you guys could fit in.
Yeah, well, they know what I look like. Because I spoke with all of them basically loudly. So they definitely know what I look like. But it's possible that we could sneak at least Sulla in. I think that maybe, like, if it's dark and the power is cut and we throw some smoke bombs and things like that, we might be able to just get to him and either take him hostage or kill him. And like negotiate our way from there. And then we can have the sort of like backup of if it all goes wrong, we like start to run out of the Corvette, and when they follow us, that's when the bombs hit.
So you're saying to go in and take him while he's sleeping?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, ideally as a hostage, because then I think they won't shoot us.
So should we... This is probably not a great idea, but should we have somebody get the ship while the rest of us get the guy and then converge? Or should we all go in to get the guy and then all go to get the ship?
I like that first option. A couple of us, he looks at Chal over here, Chalura. We can grab the ship. If I need to, I can activate it. If it's under security, I can breach it. And then I can meet you at the north end of the compound.
Does that ship have, it would have a cannon of some kind, right? At least some sort of weapon.
If it's a T, what was it? It was a Theta.
Yeah. Right. So the Theta class personnel shuttle has 2 quad lasers on the front and a aft turret.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually like pretty well outfitted little ship.
Well, then if you can get on, then you can cover any sort of approach that we need.
If that's the case, it might actually be worth it for you to just draw him out into some kind of talking while we take the ship, and then kill him with the ship and have the dude bomb him. Pick you up, and as we're leaving, bomb them so they can't take off after us, maybe bomb the... Well, he probably wants the ship, so he might not want to target the rest of the ships. We also don't want them to follow us if we take their ship and shoot us down before we can even do the rest of our mission.
It's got an aft gun. If we got a good pilot, we can take down any pursuers. You know that Sol is very overconfident in his team.
Yeah. It's just, I don't think it's worth the risk. To do all this to get a ship to accidentally be shot down. It might be in our best interest to have him come out, take the ship, kill him, and then have the Y-Wing blow up the rest of their ships.
Yeah, though if I'm Jalan, there's no way I'm blowing up all that extremely valuable asset stuff.
That's true.
You know, I think that if we try and get him quietly, well, you know, so like maybe me and you go and do that, and then Sulla and Chalura go and get the ship and like get on it and get ready. Then once we bring him outside at gunpoint, we can like talk with Jalan, and I'm sure that he will double cross us. And then you can fly the ship over and like shoot him or something.
I love that your plan factors in an inevitable double cross that you have to deal with.
Yeah. Yep.
You're like, double cross, check that off.
Not his first rodeo. That's why he's captain.
All right. And Nexu looks at Sullen and is like, hey, we might want to swap guns then. If I'm going to be in close quarters, this heavy blaster is probably not going to be that great.
He looks at you offended a little bit and he says, you know what they say about fair exchanges and cold dead fingers?
I don't.
He thinks, he's like, me neither, but Listen, I'm sure you'll do just fine. I don't know how to operate that thing. And he begins to hold it closer to him like it's his baby. You've always had your eye on this.
Trust me, there's nothing I would rather have than to keep mine and shoot some people from a distance. Close quarters combat is not necessarily my forte.
No, but you're quieter than either of these two. That's why you're going with me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Solo breathes out a.
What about a spare blast? You got a pistol that I can use?
He actually pulls out readily a. You know what? It's probably a DL-18 blaster pistol, like not quite the Han Solo's gun, but a little bit lighter than that, a little bit more of a holdout blaster. And he hands out he hands you the DL-18, and he says, "You still got your knife?" Because he holds out his knife just in case you don't.
Yeah. Pulls out his knife and puts it back in the sheath. Takes the blaster. I'll make sure to give it back to you.
He says, "Damn right."
As you finish up your strategizing, Jalan would approach. You have made a plan then? One Jalan can be privy to?
Yes, we have.
Good. My only requirement is that Sal Lor is killed tonight. Everything else doesn't matter.
You cannot do that killing yourself?
It is against my code to kill a fellow Black Syndicate boss. Sal and I are supposed to get along. If you kill him, my hands are clean. You understand.
More than you know.
You have the look of a merc about you, but now you're with the rebellion. That must be hard.
Something higher purpose. You know how it is.
Merc with a heart of gold. I've known too many in my time. They die quickly. It was good knowing you, Beskar.
Yeah, not this one. I've been at it a while. Trying to keep at it.
I should hope that you'll keep at it at least until dawn tomorrow. So when do we strike?
Yeah, Beskar will go into the details. The hope being that at like 4:19 in the morning, they would cut power and like open the doors so that we can get in. And when the when the power is cut, we can sneak in and find this dude and take him out quick and quiet. While the other two are going to rush over, but we actually won't tell him that. That's not important for him to know.
Yeah, you give him exactly how much he needs to know, and he seems okay with that. He would load up he and probably like 3 or 4 of his guys onto a speeder and offer to transport you within a click of Sal Lor's compound.
Yep, we'll take it.
So you all load up. Any special preparations or equipment that you'd like to try and get before you head out here on this mission?
I would love some explosives.
I was going to say, do they have thermal detonators? Do they have a stand that sells thermal detonators in there?
In exchange for everything that you're doing for Jalan, he'd be willing to part with a... Let's say he'll give you a frag grenade each. A C-22 frag grenade, and 2 smoke grenades. So 4 frags, 2 smokes.
Captain, I think you should keep the smokes.
Maybe
I
each
think so
group
too.
should have a smoke grenade. So you guys should take one, and we should take one.
I think we might need it less. And he looks around, lowers his voice, taking the shuttle. But as long as we have the frags, we should be good.
Mm.
You have thermal imaging on your helmet, right? Nexu?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so do I. So that means that we can throw smoke grenades happily and still shoot the crap out of everybody when they can't see us.
Yeah, I don't think that the other two have thermal imaging on their blast helmets, so they would be just as blinded in the smoke as the enemies would. So good.
Yeah, so let's take one frag each. If you guys are out in the yard and see like a big chain of swoop bikes or something like that, feel free to like leave a frag grenade under there to mess with his dudes when they wake up. But yeah, we'll take the smoke grenades with us.
Oh, and did you guys decide, do you want a bombardment from the Y-Wing at any point?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a panic button option.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess we would want it like around, and then when we can like,
Jalan basically says that he can keep the Y-Wing in orbit, and he can have it down to you in like 30 seconds if you call it in, basically.
Yeah, we have
sweet.
thermal flares too, so we can drop one of those as a signal.
Yep, that would help with the.
Good call.
Yeah. Cool. Shalur would like to ask Jalan how much for the big guy.
That's a good question.
Yeah, and Jalan would kind of shake his head and say, "Ripper is not for sale. That's my best guy. Won't let him go for any price."
Solo whispers into Chalura, "I think you could take him." Don't doubt yourself.
And we wouldn't purchase because we do not deal in flesh. And they like look back at the others like, this is serious. We don't buy slaves. We don't trade in slaves.
We are good guys.
I think he was talking about the Edom boss.
So the four of you load up on this speeder. It's like it's sort of an open air speeder, very similar to the sail barges that Jabba has in Return of the Jedi. And you take off across the junkyard. The enforcers with you in their purple and gold garb with their helmets. It's nighttime now, and the helmets are kind of this like dim glowing green. And they kind of like keep looking at you, their hands on their blasters. It's true that even though Jalan seems incredibly comfortable around you and at ease and fully trusting of the four of you, his enforcers have likely learned to not trust anyone. And so they are sort of fanned out around you, their hands always ever present on their double-barreled heavy blaster pistols. But otherwise, they don't make any moves. After about half an hour of flying across the junkyard, the speeder skiff sets down, and Jalan says, "This is where we part ways. In 10 minutes, my men cut the power, and you do what you do best. Call in the Y-Wing if you need it. Otherwise, I'll save myself the bombs."
Hopefully we can save those bombs. We shook hands, and I spit in my hand, and I know that you have a code here with your people, but that to me is a bond and a deal made, and the deal struck is not broken.
I am a criminal. I make no illusions about that. But what I am not is a liar and a backstabber. Sal Lor and I had the falling out over this very thing. He does not honor deals. He does not conduct honorable business. Even among thieves, there can be honor. The deal is a deal, Beskar.
Good. Well then, maybe we'll see you again sometime.
I think we will. I have good feeling about this. Happy hunting. And the skiff would kind of take off after dropping you guys off.
Sulla jumps off the barge, stands next to the captain, and says to the three of his comrades, "All right, we've done this all before. If I die, Nexu, you get my weapon."
Make sure you keep your weapon and that you don't die.
That's the dream for the Alliance, guys.
But more importantly, if you die, we definitely don't have a ship and we're probably all going to die. So,
No pressure.
No one's going to die. Quick and quiet, like we always do. He lies, being a demolitions expert.
don't know how quiet a Y-wing is, but we'll see.
All right, so the four of you move through the junkyard. It doesn't take you long until you see the floodlights of this compound, and you can see it over the rise of junk. This large clearing, this sort of valley in the junkyard, and sitting in the middle of this valley is an old, rusted-out CR-90 Corvette, affectionately known as a blockade runner among the Alliance, and it's sitting there in the middle of the junkyard. There are floodlights all around it and this sort of short metal fence going all the way around. And you can see there are 3 or 4 Black Sun enforcers kind of milling around the compound, walking around. Occasionally they meet up with each other and have conversation and then move off, continue their patrol. But otherwise appears fairly quiet.
We want to try and take out 2 of these guys when they're at the furthest points before the light goes out, because when it goes out, they're all going to start shouting.
Cool. Yeah. If you want to try and take them out, we can absolutely do that.
Blasters are so loud, and they make this big bright light. It's really not ideal. I think it's all
Is
we
there
got.
anybody else beyond them? So there's these guys at the perimeter. Is there anybody like towers or anything looking down on them?
Well, you see that the there's a large laser turret that is sort of rotating on top of the CR-90. But if what Jalan said is to be believed, they're going to shut that down as well when the power goes out.
Sulla pulls out his knife, a survival knife, looks to Nexu, and actually probably the captain. If you want to take them out quietly, this might be your choice.
All at once.
All at once.
Next pulls out his knife.
All right, are you going to try to approach quietly? There are three guards.
Okay, my bad. Then yes. I'd looked at Chalura, who's usually who's more able to hide, the guy with the big freaking gun or the huge Wookiee?
6 to 1, half dozen to the other, I think.
All right.
So
I mean-
Beskar is very efficient at killing people up close, and he's not bad at sneaking. So I could go for one. Nexu, I know you're good at sneaking, so you could go for the other. And then the third, the 2 of you who maybe are not so good at sneaking, could take out.
I bet this guy could break his neck, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So sounds like Beskar and Nexu, you guys are going first. You're going to try and sneak down first and take out 2 of the guys, and the third one is going to be left to the Biggins.
Yep.
All right, so I will need sneak rolls from both of you then, please. Make sure you include that wild die.
Sneak a dexterity thing. I mean, that makes sense, right?
Sneak is actually under perception.
See, that was the question because I saw on the character sheet.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I got 13 and a 6 on my orange dice, which is my wild dice.
Oh, okay, cool. So is the 13 including that 6?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I always thought it was weird that it was under perception until I thought about the fact that like sneaking is less about being nimble and more about like knowing exactly where everyone is so that you can't be seen.
Yeah.
And so it like kind of makes sense a little bit.
I
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah,
Knowing when to stand still and in the shadows and knowing when to keep moving. Absolutely.
totally. Yeah, it's just being like hyper aware of your surroundings.
I like it.
What'd you get next to?
I got 25 and 5 on the colored die.
God damn. Okay. So you definitely, both of you managed to get into the compound, and that 6 on your wild die, Beskar, I'll say, is that you approach this fence, this metal fence, and you find like a loose panel in the fence that you're able to like move aside and get into the compound without having to do any cutting or climbing.
Perfect.
So the two of you are inside the compound, and you have approached within easy distance of 2 of these guards who currently have their backs to you, just kind of like scanning the perimeter. If you want to try and take them out, we will need, let's see, this would be one second.
Melee?
Yeah, melee, what is it? Or no, is it? Yeah, melee combat. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so roll melee combat to try and take these guys out.
All right.
So also remember that you guys have 5 character points. You can use those after you roll to add another die to the roll, but use them sparingly because they're also what you use to level up.
Oh, that's cool.
So I have 4 in dexterity and I have 1 in melee, so that means I have 5 for this.
5 total, yep.
Yeah. Looks no whammy. Pretty good.
All right, so I got 10 and a 1 on the colored die.
Ooh, okay.
God damn it, Nexu, one job. I got 19 and nothing special on the wild die.
Okay, all right, cool. Let me check one thing here.
I have a vibro sword which I'll be using unless it's very loud. I'm not sure how loud a vibro sword is.
I don't know. Vibro swords make some noise, right? Because they,
Yeah,
I think they,
I think it's sort of lightsaber-ish, right? In
Yeah.
the noise category.
yeah. So you might want to go with the knife if you're trying to be
Okay.
sneaky.
Yep, I'll do that then.
Okay, cool. Just one second. I need to check with the.
Anyone got any lightsaber?
I took lightsaber.
Does it have a silencer on it?
Weapon are very easy for weaponless. Oh, okay, very easy. Okay, so actually, you guys both hit because neither of these guys are aware of you or carrying a melee weapon, and so the DC is very easy, meaning you just had to beat 5. So both of these guys hit. So go ahead and roll your damage, which for a knife is going to be it's going to be your strength plus 1d. So however many dice you have in your strength plus 1d.
– 14 for me.
14, okay. So 6.
So that's 7 for me and another 1 on my die. I've tried 3 colors now.
Well, luckily, the wild die doesn't factor in on damage rolls, so you're good there. Okay, and then how much damage? I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Sorry, 7.
7, okay. Okay, so I rolled to resist. One of these guys, let's see. Damage. So the one that you attacked, Beskar, goes down. Go ahead and describe what that looks like.
So I guess Beskar is like pressed against the wall, like at a corner, and you can hear the clunk, clunk, clunk of this guy approaching. And he like pulls the knife out from the self-sharpening sheath, just like has it here, and as he like approaches, he's just gonna like around the corner into the guy's throat, and then pull, and then like grab him and like bring him down to the ground so he doesn't like clang.
Yeah, you like he just lets out this little as the knife goes in, and then just immediately goes slack, and you're able to drag him over. You see that he has the vibro knife on one hip and the double barrel blaster on the other. Jonathan, the guy that you attacked, you didn't do enough damage to wound him, but he is stunned. So he, what would that look like, do you think? So you've attacked this guy and managed to stun him, but haven't killed him outright.
I imagine that like I don't necessarily like cut deep enough, but still like push him to the ground, and he's just shocked that somebody is like standing on top of him.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and roll for initiative here, if you don't mind, guys. So what we're going to do here is just roll flat perception, and whoever gets, and then go ahead and post your numbers in the chat if you wouldn't mind. Perception's 2D. Oops.
Does that include wild die?
Yes, it does. Yeah, the only time you don't include wild die is on damage rolls.
Oh, then I got a 6.
On your wild die? Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Beskar is definitely first, especially with that 6 on that wild die. And Lloyd, what do you think that 6? What do you think that looks like? What do you want to have happen? Something advantageous that happens as a result of that 6 on the wild die.
I guess like the Beskar is I don't know how far this other dude is, but Beskar is aware that he's not been dealt with. And maybe he's in sprinting range.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, like you look and you see him like come around the corner, and you see that he's easily within range of you. Okay. So. Oh, perfect. Okay. And then Nexu. So you guys are all going before them. They didn't roll well on their initiative. Nexu and Chalura. Okay, so here's how combat works. When I come to you every round, you tell me how many actions you want to take. So you could just take 1 action. You could say you want to take 2. You could say you want to take 3. But every action you take beyond 1 reduces all of your checks by 1d. So if you say, I'm going to take 3 actions, all of your rolls for that round are minus 2d. If you say, I want to take 2, they're all minus 1. You don't necessarily have to decide what your actions are specifically, but you have to decide beforehand how many actions you're going to take. So if you wanted to sprint up to a guy and attack him, that would be 2 actions. If you're wanting to shoot twice, that would be 2 actions. The other thing to remember is that whenever you are attacked, you have the option of reacting. Most of the time when you're attacking someone or they're attacking you, they're attacking a static DC. But if you think that you can roll higher than that static DC, you can choose to react and roll dodge, parry, whatever the skill is that's being applied. When you do that, you add another, you can either have it take up one of the actions that you decided to take, or you can add on an additional action to your turn, which would then add another minus die to any actions you take after that. That might all sound a little bit confusing, but it'll make sense as soon as we start, I promise. So we'll start with Beskar. You're going to go first. How many actions would you like to take this round?
So I guess I need to know about movement. Like if I want to run to where the guy is that going to be like 2 moves?
So you can, so moving is always 1 action, but you can decide how much you want to move. Basically, you can either like walking, half your movement basically is always free. You can always move half your movement. In this case, it would be 5 meters. If you want to do your full movement, that's an action, but you can also do an action to run as 20 meters. This guy is only 10 meters away from you, so you'd be able to get to him in 1 move, basically.
Okay, so then I will take 2 actions.
2 actions. Okay, great. All right, and your first action is going to be to move up to this guy.
Yep, and then I'm going to try and shank him.
Yep, so you'll do 1 action, and then everyone does their first action, and then it comes back around to the top.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. Sula, how many actions are you going to take?
How close am I to this third patrolman?
So you were probably like 30 meters away from him.
Oof. Okay. I think that I'm going to run for 1 action. I'm going to take 1 action to get closer to him.
Okay, cool. So you'll be able to do 20 meters basically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So 1 action for you. Oh,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
really quick. My move is 10/12. What is that 12?
Okay, so the 12 is basically your max movement ever. So if there's ways to increase your movement speed, but humans can never go faster than 12. Their movement speed can never be faster than 12. So right now you're
Got it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so one action, and you're going to sprint into the compound. Next to you, how many actions would you like to take?
I'm going to take 1.
1? Okay.
Focus on killing this guy.
Okay, cool. So you can go ahead and take your first action now then. Go ahead and make your roll to try to attack him. And he is stunned, so he won't be able to react to it. So it's going to be very easy. Just need 5 or better to hit him.
And this is me doing a dexterity melee attack, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I just realized I haven't been listening to Star Wars music for way too long. My music stopped at some point.
Are you in the Rogue One soundtrack?
Well, I think I'm going to do Shadows of the Empire now, though.
Okay, so I got a 15 to hit, and I got a 6 on the color die.
Oh, damn. Okay, yeah. What would you like that 6 to do for you on your wild die?
Not sure. I don't know. I
You could
kill
have
this guy, and yeah, I'm not sure. I can't think.
You could have the other guy look at the noise that he makes. Maybe he makes like a loud, but the guy who they're about to get looks in that direction for a second.
Yeah, so distracts the guy that he's attacking.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, great. Okay, so you definitely hit him. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. Damage is my strength +1.
And there's no hit points in this game, by the way. You either like wound a person or don't. And minions, when they're wounded, just go down.
Okay, so that is a 10 and a 2 on the colored die.
Okay, cool. 10 damage. He's going to roll to resist. He did not roll well. All right, you take him out. What does that look like?
Yeah, me and him kind of struggle with him kind of holding the dagger, my arm, and me pushing down, and I eventually win that. My dagger sweeps into his neck.
You slide, and the other guy, the third patrolman, sort of is like, hey! And he's like going for his blaster, kind of looking in that direction, which gives the other people a chance to take him out. So, Chalura, how many actions would you like to take this round?
A quick question, by the way. I know for like humans, it says it's like 10, 12. For Wookiee, it says 11, 15. Does that mean I move 11 regular?
Yeah, you normally move 11 meters, yeah. And your max, if you improved it, leveling up, would be 15.
So I'm going to move with Sula 11. So technically I'm ahead of it now.
Okay, cool. And do you want to take any other actions later in the round? Or do you want to just do that one?
While I'm moving, like Vibra Blades, I'd have to activate the vibration, wouldn't I?
Yeah, I don't think it's an action to activate it, though. I think you can just do it outright.
Okay. I'd want to pull out my vibroblade but not activate it.
Okay, cool. You got it out. All right. So Black Sun guy gets to go. He's pulling out his blaster and he's going to take a shot at, well, the only person he sees right now is next to. He's going to take a shot there. Let's see here. He's got blaster 3D. Okay.
Now I can do a dodge thing, right? If he's shooting at me.
Yeah, so he's at moderate range, which means he's trying to hit at 15. So if you feel like you can roll your dodge higher than a 15, you can choose to react and add another action onto your round here. Up to you.
Okay. I'm gonna let it go for now.
Okay, cool. 5. So he did not roll well. So he brings out his blaster and takes a couple shots, but both of them land in the dirt beside you. Okay, we're back up at the top. So Beskar, you've got your second action. You are now charging up to this guy. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna try and shank him.
Okay, go for it. Make sure you lose 1 die from your roll because of the second action there.
Yes. So I will go from. Okay, so I have 5, so I have 4. Okay, nothing magical on the fancy dice. 11, 14, 15.
15 is a hit. Go ahead and give me some damage.
It was strength plus 1, right?
Yeah, for the knife.
Not great. It's gonna be 5, 6. My brain is muddling. 11 all up.
11 damage.
What are dice? What are numbers?
What are numbers? Okay, and he did 5 on his resist. That's enough to take him out. Go ahead and describe it.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, so he's like looking up at where Nexu is, and he's like firing the gun, and he probably just doesn't hear until the last second of like heavy footsteps until Beskar is going to basically like shoulder block him onto the ground and like shank the knife into his side a few times as he holds his hand over his mouth.
Awesome. Yeah, you completely obliterate him. He goes down, and as you stand up with blood dripping off of your knife, he's laying still on the ground. He did get a couple blaster shots off, though, and you hear commotion inside the CR-90 as more guards are alerted. So technically still an initiative. We are starting a new round here since no one else took a second action. So you're all standing in the compound now within probably 10 meters of each other since Chalura and Sula, you guys ran up into the compound. So what would you guys like to do from here?
The mission is the mission, so I would say that the teams break up in the way that we were planning on it, and hopefully the power will be cut like any minute, and we're going to try and kick in doors and throw smoke bombs till we get and find Sal, and the other two can get to the ship.
Yeah, if you check your the chronometer, you have about 10 seconds until the power goes down if Jalan goes through with it, as he promised.
When the power goes down, are there going to be like some bay doors that might open on the west side of the compound where we can sneak in and start moving towards the hangar, or is that just the lights?
Yeah, so all the power is going to go down. The Corvette itself is, you see that there are doors open kind of like all over it. Like it's sort of this, it's not locked up really. They kind of depend on just the guards to kind of keep security. So you can see that you'll be able to get into the hangar.
Okay, sweet. So we would move. I would move with. I'm guessing, and it's going to be Chalura that comes with me, I think.
Yeah.
We're going to make our way toward that hangar side.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to shift you in the initiative so that you guys are going together since you're
perfect
splitting the team up. So let me rearrange that.
I would say that we want to not go through the door that's close to us. Next to we want to like move around so that we're coming from a different side. So when they come rushing out here, they'd be like, "What the hell's going on? There's nobody here." And we've like run around to flank from a different side or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Can I check any of these guys that we just killed and see if there's a comm link that they have on?
Yeah. One of the guys has a comm link on him. It's in his belt.
Yeah. I just want to take it and attach it to like someplace on me so that if they're talking into the comm link, I can hear it.
That's perfect. Yeah, you actually, when you pick it up, you hear chatter on the comms. There's a voice saying, "What's going on out there? We heard blaster fire. Respond. Respond."
Lie.
Sorry, boss. It was just a misfire. Everything's fine.
Misfire. Damn it. Don't be getting drunk and drawing your blasters out there.
Oh, boss, we're sorry. It's not like last time.
All right, just keep it quiet.
Will do.
Comm cuts out. All right, so Beskar and Nexi, you guys are heading towards a door that's further away, and Sulla and Chalura, you guys are heading towards the hangar. As you are doing so, the power, you're all plunged into darkness as the floodlights go down, and all of the power coursing through this Corvette immediately dies. You hear shouting voices inside as everyone responds to the power going down. So let's go ahead and start with Beskar and Nexu. You guys are standing outside of one of the doors in the aft section of the ship, and you hear the power go down. Beskar, how many actions would you like to take?
I would like to take 2, I think.
Okay. What about you, Nexu?
I'd like to take 2 as well.
Okay. And then Sula, how many actions would you like to take? You and Chalura are standing outside the hangar.
I'm gonna say 2.
Okay. Chalura?
I'm gonna say 2 as well.
Okay. Great. So top of the initiative, Beskar, what's your first action?
I'm going to move towards that door. If we can get in the door, that'll be ideal.
Yeah, you were just standing outside of it, so you're inside now. You see a long corridor in front of you that leads directly into like the main sort of vein that runs through the ship.
Okay, so then I'll move down that corridor and like remember the plans and whatnot, and think of like where I think Sal is going to be. My guess would be like the fanciest bedroom or the fanciest like quarters. He seems like the kind of petty man who might turn like the bridge into his own quarters or something. So I would think about something like that, and how to best avoid the very populated areas. So yeah, that would be my action moving in.
Okay, cool. Nexu, you gonna follow? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm following. Does it take an action for me to deploy the probe droid?
I would say you could do it as part of your move, since you're not like moving under duress right now. You're just kind of stalking through the hallways.
Yeah, I just want to send the probe droid ahead of us so that it can use its scan to make sure nobody's going to ambush us around the corner or anything.
Cool. Yeah, perfect. You do so. All right, back in the hangar, Sula, Chalura, you guys are standing outside of it. Sula, what would you like to do on your first action? You can see inside the hangar, even though it's dark, you can see the silhouettes of ships inside of the hangar. Okay,
great. So I'm gonna, and the power has gone out, so it's completely dark, but you can still, okay, great. I'm gonna make my way towards the nearest silhouette, and I'm just gonna start going one by one, ship by ship, finding the Theta, and I'm actually gonna suggest that Chalura does the same.
Cool.
I have a glow rod just in case I need light.
It's pretty easy to tell the silhouettes of the ships, and most of these are there's like speeders. There's a couple of air speeders. You come across 2 Z95 headhunters that look like they've been heavily modified. But you can see near the back of the hangar the very distinct pyramid silhouette of the Theta-class shuttle with its wings folded up.
Sadly, with a longing in my eyes, I'm going to turn away from one of those headhunters and move towards the Theta shuttle in the back. And so I guess that's probably my 2 actions, actually, both movements.
And then, Shalura, you're going to follow behind Sula?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow behind Sula, and I might be more tempted about that headhunter thing.
The cockpit seems pretty cramped for a Wookiee, but you think you could maybe get in there. So back inside the main corridor of the Corvette, Nexu, your probe droid remotely alerts you to the fact that there are 3 guards up ahead.
All right, I tap the boss, put out a hand signal 3, and then motion in front. Boss, what do you want to do?
Oh, sorry, it's me. We don't want to be killing everybody we come across. We might have to.
We still got the smokes.
Yeah. Yep. He'll nod, and he'll just like tap his breath mask and make sure. Oh, I guess you always wear your helmet. So you're ready and good to go. He'll like do like there'll be like a release of as it like settles and like connects properly so that he's breathing through the mask, and then he'll pull the thing and or actually place the smoke bomb on the ground quietly, and then he'll like step against the wall and gesture for you to do the same next to it. Basically, when they run down here and they're like, "What the roll? What's going on?" We're just gonna take them out.
Mm-hmm. So he pushes himself up against the wall. We could also just let them walk by too if they keep wanting. But if they stop, we can just kill them.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you throw the smoke grenade. It goes off down the hallway. Or you don't throw it yet?
Yep. No, I do. I place it on the ground.
Cool. Perfect. The smoke fills the corridor. The guards, you hear their voices coming around the corner, shouting, barking orders. They kind of, you see these silhouettes in the smoke kind of fanning out, sweeping their blasters across the hallway. One of them goes the other direction down the corridor, and 2 of them come down the corridor straight towards you guys. And we're actually at a new round of initiative here. So there are 2 guards coming towards you. Beskar, how many actions would you like to take this round?
Just one.
Just one. Okay. Nexu?
I'll take one as well.
Okay. In the hangar, as you're heading towards the Theta-class shuttle, there's a whirring sound. And you see a shape rise up out of the silhouettes here in the darkness. Some sort of droid, humanoid droid, rises up and swivels, and it aims its arm at the 2 of you in the hangar. Sula, how many actions would you like to take?
I'm going to take 2 actions.
Okay. And Shalura?
I'm going to also take 2 actions.
Okay, great. All right, top of the initiative. Beskar, 2 guards coming towards you in the hallway. What is your one action this round?
I'm gonna shank one. I don't know if I can like wait or delay, but if not, I'll run out into the smoke and get him.
Yeah, you can basically just say like, I'll wait until one of them gets close and then take them out. Yeah,
Yep.
Go for it.
Satisfying rolling big handfuls of dice.
It's full of dice, baby.
Never get to do it. That's so much. I'm so bad at maths with like little numbers. Shocking.
That is the one thing with this system, man, is you like very quickly have to add up a bunch of numbers.
Yep, that's 19, which will almost certainly get him.
Yes, definitely will. Roll for damage.
14.
14. Okay, let me roll to resist. That is enough to take him out. Go ahead and describe it.
It's an incredibly practiced maneuver for Beskar. It's shanking people who aren't prepared for it. And so like he's moving through the smoke and he can see like pretty clearly like the heat signatures. And this other guy has no idea what's coming from. And so as he's like, I guess like his eyes are like really wide open, he's trying to like look through the smoke. There's just like a hand over the mouth and a knife in the throat.
Beautiful. All right, Nexu. One guard remains heading towards the heading down the corridor towards you. What would you like to do with your one action?
So I'm assuming that we don't want to shoot him. That you want me to stab him with the knife.
I think the more shooting we do, the more guards that come.
Fair enough. Okay.
So if it's like possible, like if you think it's effective to use your knife, I would definitely say do that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. I'll do the same thing. I'll wait till they get close then, and then I guess roll to hit them. So I got a 12 to hit and a 3 on the colored die.
How much to hit? Sorry.
12 to hit.
12 to hit. That is enough to hit since he is unarmed. And give me some damage.
Six and a 3 on the colored die.
Okay. Enough to stun this guy. What does that look like?
So this guy comes and instead of just going for the jugular, I do like a swipe kick and knock him on his back.
Awesome. Yeah, he goes down to the plating, gets the wind knocked out of him as he drops to the floor. You hear him wheezing. Okay. In the hangar, Sula, there is a droid pointing a weapon at you. What would you like to do?
Sula yells, "Split up!" and he runs to the left as his first action. He's going to run his 10 feet or 20 feet because he's running probably near the back of the shuttle, just so this droid can only target one of them.
Cool. Are you going to try and go for cover then?
I don't want to take cover behind the shuttle, but if there's like a stack of crates of equipment or something near the shuttle, I'll definitely take cover. If not,
there's a bunch of shit stored in here, so you could very easily find some like Durasteel crates to put your back to.
Definitely what I'm doing.
Cool. Yeah, I'd call that enough for half cover.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's your first action. Chalura, what's your first action?
Move up to the droid.
Okay, you do so. You charge up to it. As you get closer up to it, you can see in the kind of the moonlight that's filtering through the hangar, you can see this like blue-gray Durasteel hull. This is a Confederation super battle droid, retrofitted and customized here by Black Sun. These saw lots of use in the Clone Wars, but they're a rare sight these days. You see it has these two blaster pistols that unfold from its arms, and it's holding both of them out towards the two of you. Let's have these guys move up here. The droid is taking one action, which is going to be to shoot at the gigantic Wookiee that's charging towards it. I am sorry to say that this guy rolls 7 dice on blasters. Okay. Would you like to try and dodge, Chalura?
Probably.
Yeah. Because he definitely hits the DC. So if you'd like to dodge, you can either have it take up your second action or have it be a third action this round.
Question: Could
Yeah.
could I melee parry with a vibro sword?
Not against blaster bolts, but once you
Darn.
get close enough to them, you'd be able to. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So right now it's just dodge.
Okay. So that is not 33 GT. That is I got wild die 6 and then 3, and total is 17.
17. Okay. Unfortunately, he still hits.
Ooh.
So 15 damage, but don't. That sounds like a lot. But in this game, you roll to resist damage when it hits you. So give me just a flat strength roll and tell me what you get.
Just flat strength. Okay.
Yep.
All right, this would be fun. Wild die is 4, and I got a total of 23.
23 on strength?
Yeah.
Jesus. You actually negated all of the damage. So this guy just fires these two double-barreled lasers on its wrists, and you just like completely avoid it, dodging, ducking, weaving, and a few of them kind of splash uselessly against your blast vest, and you're able to close in within melee distance of him. Sula, your second action.
So it comes from behind the crates, holding this massive repeating cannon. And he fires this power shot directly at the droid, which is now in melee with the Wookiee.
Yeah.
And so I roll blasters.
You roll blasters. Yep.
Oh, baby. Okay, so 12, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 22, 23, 24, 28.
28 absolutely hits.
Cool. And no wild issues there. All right, cool. So damage is, and this one has the 2. This is fire mode 2, so a single power shot. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, this gun that Barker has 2 fire modes. Basically has like a rapid fire that you can spread the damage around, or you can do a single power shot and do extra damage to one target. How much damage did you roll?
I really want to give the Wookiee a chance to kill this thing with the vibroblade. So I feel really bad when I say 24 damage, but I have no problem if it's got, give him 25.
Yeah. So 24 damage. He does get a chance to roll against it, and he does have a lot of armor. So we'll see how much he negates here.
Cool.
So 9, 13, 15, 21. How much damage did you say you did?
24.
Okay, so 3 damage total. So he's stunned.
Oh, nice. I softened him up for you. I loosened that jar of pickles for you.
Yeah, you did. So what does that look like as you land this power shot on the droid and stun it?
You actually see this the blaster bolt strike the droid and then immerse itself outward upon the droid's kind of like right side, this battle droid, and you see kind of this lightning spread over the droid itself as there's some mechanical failures of its right arm, and it starts saying Roger, 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 something like it goes into repeat mode and loses its right blaster for a moment or something.
Perfect. Okay, Chalura, you have your second action.
Chalura will swing with this vibroblade.
Cool.
Down on this battle droid.
So make sure you're taking 2 dice off of your normal roll for the extra actions you took this round.
I thought it was just just the 1, wouldn't it be? Because I moved.
You also dodged.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that's 2 off it? Okay.
Yeah.
So that just my... So that is... Okay, that is... Wild die 5, total 15.
15 is enough to hit it. Give me some damage.
Okay, so do I take 2d off the damage too?
No, just the roll to hit.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily damage rolls are not affected by the multiple action penalty, or MAP as it's called in Star Wars D6.
All right. So my wild die roll was 6 and 3, and I cleared that gun out of the park. 38 damage.
Let me roll to resist.
Oh God.
All right, you have wounded this droid. It can take multiple wounds, but how do you wound it with your vibroblade?
Would I be able to like remove one of its blasters, or is that?
Yeah, you can hack one of its arms off if you want.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
An arm just comes right off.
Yeah, it comes flying off. It's like spinning end over end and lands on the ground, and this droid's like, and sparks are like coming off of it. Awesome. Okay, back in the hallway. We're actually back at the top of the initiative since you guys took 2 actions. So Beskar, there is 1 guard remaining. He's laying on the floor with Nexu over him, and there's a 3rd guard that went down the other hallway, but he's kind of turning around trying to see what's going on. How many actions would you like to take?
The move is not an action, right?
If you move half your movement, it's not an action.
Okay. Will that get me to like the end of this corridor?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll take 1 action.
Okay, cool. 1. Nexu, how many actions?
I'm going to take 2.
Okay. 2. Okay. Black Sun's going to take 1 action. Sula, on this round, how many actions are you going to take?
I assume it'll take me 1 action to get inside the shuttle and sitting at the cockpit.
Yes.
Okay, then I want to take 2 actions.
2 actions. You got it. Chalura, how many actions this round?
I'm gonna say 1.
Okay. All right. Droid's going to take 1. I just have to say the solo soundtrack is so good.
Dude, I'm really digging this Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One's great too.
Nice. The solo solid, yeah.
Okay, so top of the initiative, Beskar, your 1 action.
I'm gonna, like I said, move to the end of the corridor and then wait for this guy to approach if possible, and then drag him into the corridor and knife him.
Yeah, you see him. He's coming towards you. He's like kind of like he's got his blaster in his hand, kind of waving it in front of him, and he's trying to waft the smoke out of his face. You hear him going and kind of stumbling towards you.
Good. Dang. Every roll feels so powerful because you just control so many dice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a 1 on my important dice.
Uh-oh.
But I did get so many. 18.
18 to hit is enough.
Yeah.
Give me some damage. I know rolling all the dice is awesome. I can't remember how many exactly, but I think the stat block for Darth Vader in the book, he rolls like 13 dice on his lightsaber skill or something like that. Absolutely ludicrous.
I did 13 damage.
13 damage. Let me roll to resist. Whew, he did not even remotely resist that. You absolutely kill this guy. What does it look like?
Yeah, so I guess something goes wrong in this. Maybe I don't grab him in time and he falls into the corridor away from me and makes like a loud gurgle. But I think like Beskar is waiting for him to come around the corner. And then he's going to grab the front of his like purple and gold piece of armor and just shank the knife into his gut. Maybe that's the mistake. And then realizing when he goes, get him in the throat.
Awesome. Yeah, you got him. All right, Nexu, first action.
That was the wrong button. All right, so yeah, I'm going to try to finish this guy off.
Yep.
And it's -1 die for the first one, or is it for the second action?
Yeah,
Okay.
so -1 for both of them.
Gotcha. All right, so that is 12 to hit with a 4 on the color die.
Yeah, 12 hits, especially since he's laying on the ground helpless.
All right. So that's 13 damage, 4 on the color die.
Damn. Does not resist enough. That takes him out. Go ahead and describe it.
All right. So yeah, I trip this guy, and then, you know, as soon as he falls, I just take my knife, run it across his throat, stand up in time to see that the boss is taking out 2 guys, and the time it's taking me to take out this one.
It's the reason why he's captain.
It's the reason why he's captain.
All right. So Black Sun guys are dealt with. You do have a second action next to if you wanted to do something else. There are no more guys in this corridor. But anything else that you'd like to do this round?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, since the boss killed that guy, I'm just gonna move up a bit ahead.
Okay, cool.
Scout out the next thing again with my my probe droid kind of leading
In front of
you. Yeah.
Yeah, you do so. You move down the corridor. You kind of like leapfrog a little bit, like move past the captain as he's finishing this guy off with the knife.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
moving like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
All right, back in the hangar. Sulla, you have 2 actions this round. What is your first action?
Well, Sulla often forgets how swift his Wookiee counterpart Chalura is, and he sees Chalura dodge all of these blaster bolts from the droid and impact the droid with his vibro blade easily, especially after Sulla is able to stun it a bit. So Sulla, seeing his chance, is going to run into the shuttle, the open shuttle, and make his way to the cockpit for his first action, trusting Chalura to finish off that droid.
Yeah, you run into the shuttle. You see that it's a little dusty and dingy inside. Probably hasn't been used in some time. Likely saw a lot of use during the Clone Wars, not so much now. But you see that there are probably close to like 6 or 7 seats in this sort of cargo area for carrying troops. And then you move through that and see the 2 seats, one for a pilot, one for a co-pilot in the cockpit. And you sink into one of those musty smelling seats. That's your first action. Chalura, you're taking 1 action this round. I assume you want to try and finish off this droid.
Yep.
Go ahead and give me a roll with that vibro sword.
All right, and that is if it's just a flat, straight, regular one.
Yeah, since you're just doing 1 action.
5d plus 2. That is wild die 5, total 17.
17 to hit is going to be enough. Go ahead and give me damage.
All right. Let's see how this goes. 9 dice. Okay. My wild dice is 4, and my total damage is 41.
So go ahead and describe to me how you kill this droid.
So I've cut its arm off before, and I want it's just this fire. I wouldn't go right through it. I assume.
You can't with 41 damage. You can do whatever you want to it.
He will cut it in a diagonal from where its arm came off, so it's like a slash right down through the.
Yeah, you do this really, and there's like a moment where it doesn't look like anything happened, and then the top half of the droid just slides off, and then the legs just like buckle and fall, and there's just like as the droid just dies.
Is it a free action to give Sula a thumbs up?
Definitely. Through the dirty cockpit, you see the Wookiee go, give you a thumbs up.
And the Wookiee sees Sulla curse like a holy but something in Galactic Basic, and he doesn't hear it. He just sees it through the window.
So Sulla, you have your second action, which I assume is to try and start this old bucket of bolts.
Yep.
So let's do what skill do we want to use for that, do you think?
So I have starfighter repair and technical, which is also technical is also where shuttle transport goes. Again, I don't have that skill, but I can roll. I have 3D and technical that I can roll.
Let's do a technical roll then.
Cool. Come on, baby.
I also say that this is likely the ship that you guys will have for the rest of the campaign. So if you want to shift your starfighter repair over to space transport, I have zero issue with that.
So can I do that now?
Yeah, let's do that now.
Okay.
Rewiring brain.
Yeah. I know Kung Fu. 10, 15. So 16 total. I did get a 1 on the wild.
16, you got a 1 on the wild. Okay. So you spend a few minutes, you're kind of hitting different buttons, hitting switches. You go up and you pop one of the panels and like connect different cords. You do the like Han Solo where you shock yourself as you're trying to work on this thing. But then you hear and the like thing lights up. All of these buttons light up and the ship turns on. What would you like the 1 to do, however, on your wild die?
I feel like this shuttle is chained to the bottom of the hangar. Like I got it working, but it's physically connected to the floor in such
Like
a way.
more here, yeah.
We need something to break that chain.
Cool. Noted. You know, Fleetwood Mac always say you can never break the chain, so I don't know if we're going to be able to.
Sure, it'd be nice if we had some grenades.
It would be nice. Even though I can't see Lloyd's whole face in the little window, I did see him do this when I said that. So I feel like I did my job. All right. So out of initiative here, since there's no combat happening at the moment, Beskar and Nexu, you guys are moving through the innards of the ship. And Nexu, your probe droid transmits back to you that he has found Sal Lor here. He sees Sal Lor in the bridge of the ship right up ahead. And Sal is like on the comms like, do you read? Is anyone out there?
Is he so like he's up ahead? Can I see him? Like is he within line of sight?
So you can't see him, but your probe droid is transmitting the image and you see Sal Lor is just around the corner up in the bridge.
Cool. So I stop the boss before we keep going and just say, hey, target's up ahead. How would you like to proceed?
Let's kick in the door, get him, and then run for the ship.
I mean, we did get these frag grenades. Could always open the door and close it.
What else can you see in that office? Anything valuable?
Bob, what else do you see?
Aside from Sal Lor and the usual like instruments, it looks like Sal has kind of changed the bridge into his own personal captain's quarters of sorts. So there's like a bed in there. There's like a few terminals and stuff around, but you don't see anything that's like immediately valuable to you.
Right. There's no like. Well, I guess they don't even have documents, right? They'd all be digital. So yeah.
Yeah. So like we would have to go in and transfer all his
Yeah.
data if we want to get the data.
Yeah. Let's just blow the hell up.
Cool.
Awesome.
Blown.
Okay, so you guys are moving up to the door and throwing a frag grenade in?
Yeah. I mean, I'm throwing mine in.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll put my knife away and take out my blaster and just like point it. So if anything manages to survive that blast and it runs out, I'll just shoot it.
Okay, cool. So I will need a. Do you have grenades as a skill? And if not, it'll just be flat decks.
No, I don't have grenades as a skill, but I do have decks. So
Okay, yeah. So go ahead and roll flat decks for me and tell me what you get.
I got 12.
12. Okay, and he's at moderate range. Okay. Okay, cool. So you kind of roll the grenade into the room, and Sal turns and sees the grenade and then looks up at you, and he sees all he sees is like a scout trooper helmet, and then like Beskar standing there with his rifle, and he just goes, "Oh," and then it goes. There's this massive explosion in the hangar. Chalura and Sula, you guys like kind of feel a rocking as this explosion goes off. And if you look out of the hangar, you see the bridge of the ship. There's just this plume of fire kind of coming out the front viewport of the ship. As the smoke and fire clears, you guys see that there is nothing left of Sal Lor.
Everything okay up there, Captain?
Target eliminated.
No kidding. Yeah. And then at this point is probably when Sulla realizes, clink, oh crap.
Yeah, so there are maglock moorings fixing this thing to the floor. So, and Chalura, you see this too. You see the engines start up, and there's like a as the shuttle tries to take off and is moored to the floor. What would you like to do?
I think it's only fitting that Chalura attempts to run over and try to use his Wookiee strength to pull these chains.
I think that's really the only option that we have at this point. So please give me a strength roll if you would, please.
Oh, yes.
I'm really, by the way, speaking of grenades, I'm really hoping that someone misses on a grenade roll at some point, because there's an amazing grenade scatter roll chart on this GM screen, and I just want to roll on it so bad.
Noted.
Parker's like, I'll be there. If you need someone to roll shitty, I'm there.
I got 2. No, dude, have Jonathan do it, man. He's been rolling ones in the wilds all day.
Okay, so okay, I don't know how this works. I got 6, 6, 1 on my wild dice.
You got 1 on the wild dice?
I got 2 6s and a 1.
Oh, okay. Wait, what'd you get on the wild die?
No, because you reroll 6s, right?
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, that's one of the options you can with a wild die. Yeah. So you rolled. How much did you get total then?
I got 34.
My God. So go ahead. Describe.
Wookiees have max 6 dice strength.
I really need you to describe Chalura using his brute strength to undo these moors on the ground.
So he just grabs these chains in his hands, and he's just full on just ripping it out of the ground. You just, you looking out the viewport, Sula, you see just this, just breaking these chains. And the ship just all of a sudden breaks loose, and this little like klaxon that was going off silences in the cockpit. The shuttle is free. Repulsors kick in, and you're hovering.
I'm going to try to keep it low so Chalura can jump on.
Yeah, he can do so. You still have the front has like a gangplank that comes down that he can jump onto.
Perfect. When he gets on board, I'm going to hand him my frag grenade and say, let's toast those transports on our way out.
Don't forget, there's also a cannon on the back of this thing. There's a aft turret.
Is there? We're in the bridge, right? And we just threw a grenade in. Did that like blow out the windows?
Yeah, the front viewport is totally gone.
Okay, we need evac from the bridge. We'll be on the roof.
En route. And I'm going to take off and fly towards that direction, but I am going to make a pass over the ships first. It's up to the Wookiee if he wants to man the cannon or drop some grenades.
He just starts dropping grenades. Just boom, boom.
You roll him down the gangplank. The grenades go off in the hangar as you're flying out. In the bridge, Beskar and Nexu, you feel more explosions like rocking the ship as the grenades go off in the hangar. And soon after, as you're climbing out the viewport, you see this Theta-class shuttle. Its wings still folded up. It's just floating on repulsors, and it kind of hovers up next to you guys. And you see a Wookiee on the gangplank.
He's got his hand out like.
Yeah, Nexu takes his hand and jumps on.
Yeah, Beskar will turn and like fire a few parting shots at him, sure, like the guards who were like running down the hall towards them. And
Yep.
they'll jump on as well.
Yeah, in classic Star Wars fashion, there are blaster bolts just sizzling past as the guards are kind of regaining their composure, firing out the front viewport. The blasts are just pinging uselessly off the armor of this Theta-class shuttle. So behind the at the helm, Sulla, you can take off here, fold down the wings, and escape if you so wish.
Exactly that. The shuttle raises up, hovers for a moment, the wings, and then kind of like a thruster just pushes it into the atmosphere.
Yeah, and you take off. You see the ORD Mantel just disappearing behind you, and this junkyard that seems so huge and sprawling as you were going through it is just this like patch of brown on the surface of ORD Mantel. You see a little blinky light on the shuttle as a transmission comes in.
That might be your 5,000 credits, Captain. I press the button.
Good work. Sal Lor is dead. I am forever in your debt. Or just until I wire transfer these 5,000 credits to you, and then we are even. Enjoy the shuttle, rebels. And you see like a little explosion on the surface of the planet as the Y-Wing makes its bombing run on the CR-90 compound.
A pleasure doing business with you.
We will do business again, I am sure. The comm goes off. Aboard their newly stolen Imperial Theta-class T2C personnel shuttle, the members of Defiance leave ORD Mantel behind and transmit the all clear to receive further orders. But that is a story for another time, and this is where our session ends. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Great.
That was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been Star Wars D6 by West End Games, the revised, expanded, and updated version of the rules, which are great. I really love these rules. I grew up playing them, and I mean, they're a little bit dated, but they're just so simple and hackable and fun. So I had a lot of fun running this session. We're going to do 2 more sessions. It's going to be a mini campaign, a little trilogy. So definitely come back for more. I'm going to kick it over to these guys to do sign-offs, and then we'll go ahead and call it a night. So we'll start from my left to right. Jonathan, go ahead, man.
So I'm John. I have a YouTube channel called Out of Character if you'd like to check that out. But yeah, this has been an amazing first. I've never actually played a Star Wars game, let alone this system. So it was fun all around. Everybody's great. And yeah, till next time.
I had no idea this was your first Star Wars game. I'm so honored. That's awesome. Luke, go ahead, man.
Hi, my name is Luke. I am starting my own kind of role-playing organization, I suppose, or whatever, called Spectral Roleplaying. And I've got a 5e setting I'm working on called America Arcanum, which is magical 1960s. And I haven't played Star Wars games in a long time, and the nerdgasms are real.
Awesome, man. All right, Lloyd, go ahead.
I'm Lloyd. I run channel YAVIN, where I run other games. This is really fun.
And Barker.
I'm going to do a Lloyd. I'm Barker. I run Be a Better Game Master. I have supplements on absolutetabletop.com, and this was fine. No, this game
It was good.
this game was rad. This game was super rad. And actually, I love that there was a cantina in the first session. And I don't know what it was. It reminded me of Inspire the Tavern, a free supplement that you can use to develop your own tavern and story-driven session. And it's free on absolutetabletop.com.
See, if I was thinking, I would have used that supplement, but I wasn't thinking. So,
All right,
thank you guys.
Is mummy themed.
Yeah, it's mummy themed, and there's a wizard. Wait, hang on. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank these guys for playing. Awesome group, and I can't wait for the next session. So take care. Happy gaming all, and may the force be with you.